you're,
Don't yell at me. Don't yell at me during the meeting.
no, you're just fine. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Terry.
What is this? Terry Robert Jones. Never mind, I'm sorry, Terry. My clock says 6 now.
It's close, I
Yeah,
reset it.
no, that's great. Yeah, right. Good evening, everybody. I'm gonna go off my, oh, there it goes anyway, so, perfect. We'd like to welcome everybody to the Holbrook City Council, regular City Council meeting for November 13th, 2024 at 6 p.m. For roll call, everybody's in attendance. We'd like to go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Dixon. And our invocation will be led by Pastor Barnabas Begay with the First Assembly of God Church. If you can rise for the pledge, we appreciate it.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you want to come to the pulpit? Thank you.
Thank you, Lord Jesus. Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the many things that you have in store for us, God, as a community, Lord, that we just continue to just lean on your word and your understanding, God, that we would just learn to grow and flourish with you and everything that we get to the opportunity to stand together, to believe together for the greater of our community, God, that we just begin to understand that, Lord, when we trust in you, we're able to accomplish many things, Lord. And so just have your favor upon the leaders in our community, Lord. We just thank you. We bless each and every one in this city, in this town, God, in the surrounding area, God. We just trust in you and believe in all the things that you have in store for us, Lord Jesus. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Begay. All right, I'd like to turn just a moment over to our manager for the introduction of our newest employee.
So I would like to introduce Sonia. She's our new admin clerk out front. So hope you get a chance to stop by and say hi to her.
Great, thank you. I think the paper's gonna take your picture first, Sonia. Sonia? I want a picture.
Well, that was a quick exit.
Yeah.
Come out of here.
All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda for October 23rd, 2024 for the regular meeting minutes and also the October 23rd, 2024 work session minutes. Does anybody have any comments? Hearing none, I'll open the floor for a motion.
I move that we approve the agenda of last meeting,
October 23rd.
October 23rd,
Both agendas?
both agendas.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Item number 6, call to the public for non-agenda items.
Are you finished, ma'am? It's up on the agenda.
This non-agenda?
This is a non-agenda item, yes.
Thank you. Okay, as a reminder, for a non-agenda item, the citizens allowed 3 minutes to speak, and our city clerk, Lisa Hunt, will let you know when your 3 minutes is up. So if Brandy Price, if you can come to the podium, we'll give you 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Brandy Price, and I work for Odyssey Services Corporation, and they contract with the state of Arizona through vocational rehabilitation services. I have been serving Navajo County since, I believe, 2017, and because of my services provided up here, I was selected as the job coach for a pilot project with the University of Arizona. So I've been doing online schooling and what have you to learn exactly this new thing that's never been done before. And we needed someone to select someone who was approved for DDD and Arizona long-term care. And out of all of Navajo County, the person lives in the city of Holbrook. So just wanted to announce that. And part of the project is really looking at the community and looking at the person and the community and what they're already good at, not what they can't do. And then looking at, what opportunities and networking with businesses within the community to show that, you know, someone like this individual can provide, give back to the community, and be successfully independent in employment opportunities. So that's it.
That's great, thank you very much.
You're
We
welcome.
appreciate it. Right, item number 7, call to the public for agenda items.
There is one.
So as a reminder, for agenda items, you will get 5 minutes. And also, I forgot to remind everybody too, after someone speaks, as a council, we're not able to start a conversation with the speaker, but we can direct staff, is what we can do to look into it further. So with that, Cisco Lerma would ask you to come forward.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, my name is Cisco Lerma, I'm with the Men's Association out the Hidden Cove. I'm our president. I'm here to see if we could table, I guess it's in your agenda, to raise the prices at the golf course. Due to the fact so we could sit down and discuss what's gonna work for the community and golfers have been playing for forever. We do wanna increase some of it, but some of the stuff is just way too high. But again, we wanna raise the prices, but we also want things done out there, i.e. golf course, i.e. more money to Steve and the workers out there to get better seed, more grass, more dirt, and nothing has changed. So we would like to sit down with you guys and figure something else out that's gonna make sense and it's gonna be affordable for them to go out there and play at this 9-hole golf course. I see here you guys have them rated with other golf courses that are 10 times better and prettier than ours. We can't get that far. Some of these rates do have to go up, but we would like to sit down and discuss it with you guys as a community and with you guys. That's it.
All right, thank you very
Thank you.
much. All right, item number 8, a presentation from Coal Creek Consulting. We do have Frank Cruz and Cameron Lehman with us. You wanna come on up, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Frank Cruz, and just to reconfirm, I only have 5 minutes.
No, you're a presenter, so we give you more time. When we start yawning, your time's up.
Probably. We won't get there.
Okay.
So thank you for your time tonight. Sharon, thank you for your time. And my colleague Cameron is right behind me. My name is Frank Cruz. I'm with Coal Creek Consulting, and my role is a site acquisition specialist. And my company has been hired by T-Mobile to look for sites that would be ideal for them to expand their network. The big idea is they're wanting to improve on E911 locations and just general telecom services throughout the area. With that, the Holbrook Water Tower is a site that we took a look at and wanted to present that to you tonight.
This one up.
Yeah, and you do have a, just for the council knows, you do have a presentation in your
I do.
packet, and then there are some pictures and some mapping on there as well, under tab 2. Thank you. Keep
Thank
going.
you. Yep. The overview is going to just be a brief summary about who we are, why Holbrook, the factors that we as a site acquisition, project management, construction firm look at in considering what the carriers refer to as candidates, and I'll explain that to you. Why the Holbrook Water Tower, and then just a brief summary. In short, Coal Creek Consulting is a locally owned company based in Scottsdale, Arizona. We've been in business for 15 years and we're very proud of that. During that time, we've expanded to many different states here on the Midwest and the West Coast, and we've done thousands of projects for T-Mobile, Verizon, and other carriers. Some of our specializations are listed on this page. We do turnkey project management. We do site development identification, which is my specialty, as well as Cameron's. We also perform architectural engineering services. We also submit for building permit submittals and approvals, and we work very closely with the jurisdictions throughout that process. Ideally, we're an A to Z vendor within the telecom space. We also do construction management, title work, and power and telecommunications projects. The next page is an overhead of the water tower. I personally did drive the site, and we did visit it again tonight, And we really feel strongly like this is what we refer to as an A candidate for T-Mobile. A candidates are candidates that are ideal, and the classification for what ideal means is, are they leasable? Is it something that T-Mobile and a landlord would be amenable to working out a lease agreement for? Is it zonable? And we certainly feel that this site is zonable, that will meet the telecommunication ordinance that you all have in place. And can we build it? Speed to market is really important for us as well. In this overhead, the parcel that this tower sits on, based on our analysis and my visit, is there's ample space for telecommunications equipment to go on the ground. And in a few pages, I will also show you how the antennas will be mounted. Now, the purpose of my presentation is not to get too thick into the weeds, not to talk engineering lingo. I will keep it very simple for you. Another milestone here that stands out is the access to the site. Just on the southwest side where it says gate access, the crews, the GCs, the engineers, when they do come to visit the site, it's easily accessible. There's ample power that we've identified by APS. And so those three factors do play into why we submitted this candidate to T-Mobile as a candidate for them to consider. The zoning piece, based off of the information that I found and we found on the city website, is that it does fall within the C2 ordinance. So I just wanted to point this out to you. So it is zonable based off of our observation. These are images that I took just to show you where sort of ideally what, so when carriers take a look at locations, right, they call rad centers or the height of where their equipment is going to be installed at. And based on my analysis, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're looking at a structure here that's close to 100 feet. And T-Mobile's ideal center for their antennas would be approximately 60 to 75 feet on this tower. So that's the purpose of these images, is that it does meet the height requirement that the carrier would prefer to be at. The next page just shows the gate where the access to the site is. There's also a pole that shows where the power is. And then the page after that is an exhibit or an image of a project that Coal Creek was proud to project manage out in Florence. And this is a Town of Florence water tower, and we were hired by the carrier to oversee the project there. And the page after that shows you an elevation image of the design drawing that we submitted for the project. And what I want to call out here on this page, this one right here, is where the antennas are installed on the tower. So in this project in Florence, T-Mobile had approved, and the city approved us installing our antennas on the frame of the structure and not the actual canister. Some final thoughts. The good news is that T-Mobile internally has already approved, discussed, and scrubbed the Holbrook water tower in detail. And they've green-lit it internally as a candidate that they would hope to pursue with the city. It's zonable, it's leasable, and it's buildable. That last part is really important because our target to have this site up and running, or on air, if you will, is by Q1 2026. Now there are other towers in the area that we did take a look at, but what we like about this location is that it's co-locatable. And what that means is it's an existing site that meets the zoning requirements that we feel would allow us to design, engineer, negotiate a lease with the city within that time block in order to get this tower up and running by Q1 of 2026. Our hope today and the purpose for this presentation is council would consider an ordinance to allow T-Mobile to negotiate a lease agreement with the city that would be amenable to both parties so that we can get this moving forward. Thank you.
All right, you good for some questions if we have any?
Yes.
All right, do we have any questions? Councilman Dixon?
So our tank is roughly 100 feet high, and I think you said the T-Mobile antennas would be located about 65 feet elevation, is that correct?
Yeah, the estimate was 60 to 75 feet, maybe higher.
Okay. Ideally, would you want them mounted on the top of the tank?
Mm.
It shows them on the side of the,
I know in Florence.
So, how I want to answer that would be based on a structural analysis. And so, to keep it simple, the feasibility of a tower and the structure would have to be thoroughly looked at in order for the carrier to make a final determination on where those antennas are going to be installed at. Options could be along the frame or also along the canister. In my experience, and in our experience, most of the equipment that I've seen are usually and typically installed on the frame due to the structural integrity of the actual structure. A lot is taken into account, especially the age and what's currently on it versus what the loading or the weighting of the actual antennas would be like installed on that structure itself. Does that help?
Yes.
And then Councilman Black has a question for you.
I was just wondering, it looks like to me that you plan on putting 4 of them up, is that correct?
That's a really good question. I'm not quite sure what our antenna count was for this particular project, but typically the way this works, sir, is there's usually 9 to 12 antennas on any given project. Now, I'm not saying that count is what's going to be installed on this tower, but the parameters are typically based off of what the engineers with T-Mobile would like to have in terms of their performance levels for the area. So on these towers here, in this drawing here, you have 2 antennas per quote-unquote sector or per frame in this example in Florence.
That final determination will be made in the engineering phase of the project. So that has yet to be determined.
Any further questions?
Do we currently have any other antennas up there? Or
I'm-
nothing?
Carrier-wise, no, I don't believe so. There are some what look like public safety antennas up on top.
Yeah, they're
I think
That's-
the city of Holbrook has an antenna up there.
We do for public safety, and then we also have antenna up there for SCADA system.
Okay.
and those are on top.
Correct.
So I'd like to ask Randy, you've been around these a long time, any concerns that you see?
Depending on the locations, probably not. There's plenty of room up on top of there.
Appreciate that.
And the weight of each one of those is, we're looking for, I mean, what's the weight of each one of these antennas?
So a structural analysis
Could you
will
have
be
them come up
run
to the podium?
prior
Yeah.
to,
Do you mind coming up to the
Of
front?
course.
Thank you.
again, the exact weight and specifications of those antennas that will be placed on the tower have yet to be determined. But I do know that a structural analysis will be done on the tower with all components to ensure that everything that will be put on there will be structurally sufficient.
But I mean, we're putting 10,000 gallons of water up there, up and down, tons and tons of water that changes, so surely the structural integrity is good. Sounds like a win-win.
So for tonight, there's no vote on it or ordinance and things like that. So unless we hear like any strong objections to even pursuing it, there's no decision. But if we're okay we'll let them start working with city administration on creating a proposal and a potential ordinance. Is there any strong objections to that?
I'm fine with that.
So, all right, well, thank you so much for coming in, we do appreciate it. So,
Thank you for
we'll
your
let you continue your conversation then with our manager. Thank you. All right. Item number 9, old business. This is our second reading of ordinance 24-05 regarding the authorizing the lease of certain municipal real property. Actually, before I read that, it's gonna be reading it redundantly. So let me go ahead and read by heading only, ordinance number 24-05. An ordinance of the city of Holbrook, Arizona, authorizing the lease of certain municipal real property to Navajo County Hash Knife Sheriff's Posse Search and Rescue, and authorizing the mayor, the city manager, the city clerk, and the city attorney to execute said lease agreement and take all actions necessary to complete the transaction. Again, this is a second reading. You have the lease with you with those corrections that the manager spoke of last week, or last meeting. Does anybody have any questions? Hearing none, I'll open the floor for, did you have a question?
No, I make a motion that we pass ordinance 24-05.
Second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to a roll call vote.
Councilmember Black,
Aye.
Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nielsen,
Aye.
Councilmember Pacheco,
Aye.
Councilmember Pack,
Aye.
Councilmember Tafoya,
Aye.
Mayor Smith.
Aye. Motion passes, thank you. Item 9B, City Hall roof repair. So, I know they said the date was wrong on this second action item request. It is a little bit different. I looked, not a lot different. So, Randy, if it's okay, I'd like to turn the time over to you for you to kind of go over this and
Yeah,
to.
thank you, Mayor, Council. When this got tabled, I immediately went back to both KGJ Roofing and Early Bird Roofing. I reached out to Slade Roofing as well. They did not give us a bid. However, working with KJG or KGJ Roofing, it's a tongue twister. I was talking to him about the differences between Early Bird and him, and he said, "Oh yeah, we have to lay that ISO board down, or you can't get the warranty." So, my quote already included that ISO board in it. And so when I started talking to Early Bird to get the apples to apples, we decided on the 2-inch ISO board. And when we did that, KJJ Roofing came back with the same quote, saying that they would do it for that same amount as the original. So I had them state that in their quote, that it was for a 2-inch ISO board. And I also got another quote from Early Bird Roofing to include the price of the 2-inch ISO board. And that raised his rate to $68,735.80. So tonight the recommendation is going back to the original recommendation and awarding KGJ Roofing for the amount of $54,665.
Did you talk to both of them about a timeline?
They are both 2 to 3 weeks out on ordering the materials.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll open the floor for discussion.
Just to clarify that the 50,000 with the initial is like, and then the 1-inch board was the 12,135, and then to get the 2-inch board was an additional 66.
Correct.
So it came up to a total of 18,735.
No, not
on
the,
top of the initial 50.
Dirty Birds, there's 2 papers.
Yeah.
For Dirty
Yeah.
Birds, so it's the 50,000 plus the 12,000 plus the 6,600 to
Okay.
get to the 2-inch.
So that would be an additional. So it would be 18,735 for the 2-inch board on top of that 50,000
Correct.
initial. Okay.
And we decided to go ahead with the 2-inch because it does add an additional insulation factor, because there is an R factor to that insulation, so the thicker it is, the better it will be.
Okay.
Any further questions or discussion?
Yes. there was some things in there that looked like to me were built-in delays. I mean, he brought up a thing like COVID, well, if my people get COVID, then we're not gonna be able to complete it on time. Or if we order too much, there's gonna be a 20% material restocking fee. That's not our problem. You know, if they order too much, that's their problem, not ours. And then it says when they do the metal layover, they're not responsible for potential divots or potholing. To me, if you tear off a roof and you go back on it right, I mean, right now, I'm sure there is that kind of stuff up there, but if you do the roof right, you shouldn't end up with divots or potholing. That's just questions I've seen that I didn't like, especially to me, it's a built-in delay that says, well, we might be late because of COVID and we can't get our materials, and I don't have help because of COVID, and to me, I just didn't like that. But
Is that with KGJ?
Yes.
Is that where you're reading that?
yes.
I would probably assume that that's just with any company that.
I didn't see that on the other one.
I didn't see anything on the other one.
Yeah, well, on the first one that they gave us before. But anyway, that's my opinion. I thought, we need to look at that, but, my opinion only.
We appreciate it. All right, any other questions, discussions, opinions? Hearing none, I'll open the floor for a motion.
I make a motion to approve the bid for KGJ Roofing at $54,665.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving it for GJ. Thank
KGJ.
you, KGJ. Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Alright, item number 10, new business for the Star Inn Motel litigation. We go to tab 5. I'm just gonna give a quick little background and discussion for the citizens. So the Star Inn Motel located at 1009 West Hopi Drive had a significant fire on or about July 28, 2022. The city has been diligently trying to collaborate with the owner for the last 2 years. Last year, code enforcement was able to get them to fence the property and clean up all the weeds. The owner was contemplating selling the property to the city but never responded back. The property now has become overgrown with weeds. The privacy screens have come off and the fire damaged buildings are still there. A letter was sent to the owner on September 13, 2024 by the city's legal counsel regarding demolishing the unsafe and dilapidated structures by October 12, 2024. The owner has not responded to the attorneys either. So what's on the agenda tonight, whether we want to see if we want to follow through with the lawsuit. So financial implications. So filing and preparing a lawsuit in Superior Court is estimated to cost between $10,000 and $20,000 in addition to other associated legal fees. Further expenses will be incurred to demolish and remove the structures once a court order is secured. So we have the alternatives. We can proceed. We can continue to let Barbara and Richard pursue it. Would like to take a moment though, Barbara, or you or Richard want to come up and just kind of be on hand to answer any questions that we may have. And I think Sharon said our attorney, he was hoping to be here tonight. He was going to come meet everybody in person. But he had a brand new baby, was due in a month, but the baby came early, so he's not here. So, is there anything you want to add really fast before we open it up to some questions?
No, other than, it started out really good working with him, and he did send someone out to clean up the property and fence it, and we thought that at that point he was deciding whether he was wanting to sell it to the city or to do something else with it. Last conversation, he keeps saying he's selling it, but nothing has ever transpired out of it. And now he's just not communicating with anybody. So, my recommendation is we need to move forward or it's gonna sit there and continue to deteriorate.
I think Vice Mayor
Can
had a question.
we legally condemn it without doing this court action? As a city, can we condemn it and
Demolish it?
demolish it?
Well, that's the whole, what had happened was the fire marshal Baker was involved at the beginning, ADQ was involved in it. And so Mr. Jackson refuses to let anybody on the property, and that's kind of where we're at right now. You know, even though it's a burnout, it's a health and safety issue. We can't just walk on his property, if it's something small, if it's not, if it's a car, it's weeds, it's trash, those kind of things, we can go on and remove them. But when you're talking these buildings, it runs into a little more legality. And so it's either we just let it sit the way it is. I mean, sure, if we want to go in and demolish it, we can do that without charging him for it. But it runs into a case where he won't let us on the property.
So he could turn around and sue us.
Right.
So, all right, Councilman Black has a question.
Two questions, Barbara. Number one, when that property was burnt down, didn't a different owner own it at that time?
No, Tyler had just bought it,
Okay.
and then right after that is when it caught on fire.
Okay, the second question is, if we go ahead and say, let's try the legal avenue on this, is it like any other lawsuit that we can say, okay, we're going to, whatever it cost us, we're gonna make them liable to pay for it?
Well, absolutely, we would end up putting a lien on the property. But then again, that lien is just gonna sit there, until it ever gets sold, and if we're lucky, we'll get money out of the sale from escrow.
Just from the property itself?
Right,
You'd have
but,
to
he might also, if we move forward with it, and I'm really surprised that he didn't respond to the attorneys, but maybe he will change his mind if we actually go to a lawsuit, because he bought that, and then it went right on fire, a month after or something like that. So he's lost all his money. He's young. They just had a baby. He lives in Utah. I don't think he has the money to fight it or to even do anything with the property.
So that whole thing, I'm looking at the picture, the back of it, so that whole thing needs to be demolished, the whole.
Right, he wanted to leave the building in the back, because I don't know if that building's burned or it's just deteriorated.
Just the back corner of that.
Right, he wanted to keep that back corner,
So would our
thinking
lawsuit
that he
say
would just,
everything, or would we say just the burnout section? The city of Holbrook, are we asking him to do everything, or just the
We
burnout
were
portion?
asking him to do the burnout. It was agreed that he had to do the burnout, and in the front on Navajo Boulevard, that whole burnout there, the side of it, and the back building, if he boarded it up and closed it off, then he would be allowed to keep that there.
But if we do the lawsuit, then the
And we
whole
would-
entire thing would be.
Right.
And I think that's right, because
Right.
if you look at it, I mean, if he boarded it all up there on Main Street, you still got this big old unsightly.
And what are you gonna do with the property when you have that in the
Was
back?
still a code violation, a different code violation.
Right,
So.
right.
We burn it down, we put
Alright.
more wigwams on it.
Sorry. So Councilwoman Pacheco has some.
If we move forward with the lawsuit and we end up putting a lien after, would that lien include if the city were to demolish and do all the cleanup, that would be added to that lien?
Oh,
The
absolutely.
cleanup? Okay.
Yeah, it would be everything, manpower, labor, if ADQ has to get involved.
And as a reminder, in our budget last year, we did set aside a little over $300,000 for abatement, because we knew we were gonna be potentially going after a lot of these blighted buildings, and we knew there was gonna be potential lawsuits, so, on that financial side.
There's several people living in the river right now. As soon as it's 10 or 15 degrees colder, they're gonna be coming in.
Right.
And that's a place like that is somewhere where somebody would go. It's abandoned. they'll start a fire in there and it could burn down again. It's,
Well, that's happened before, so.
Right.
Right, Councilman Dixon, did you have a question or
Yes,
comment?
so we've been through this before with the Knights Inn over here. And the city did almost identically what we're contemplating here. And we went to court and the owner sued us and we lost. I think it has cost us $70,000 in that lawsuit.
Cost us how much?
70,000,
Well, we
I
have
think it was.
300,000 to the side.
So, I don't like the way this looks, this building. However, I wanna make sure that we really consult with our attorney, and, this is for the city manager to be very involved in this, because the back building, the back portion of this is dilapidated, but it's not burned out like the,
No,
like
it
the
was
front
not
of
part
it
of the
is.
fire.
Right, so I'm not sure if we would have the wherewithal, the ability to go in and basically almost eminent domain the entire structure. I think we should be really, really careful about proceeding on this when it could cost the city a whole bunch of money in the end.
So we have consulted with legal counsel prior to getting to this step. Barbara has done excellent due diligence on making sure that we've written letters, we followed our timeline, followed policy, we've consulted with legal counsel, and basically got the green light from council to move forward, that he didn't think that we would have any reason to not move forward, or that we wouldn't, we would have anything obstructing us in moving forward.
Right, I understand that, but I'm sure we got legal counsel over the other building that we lost big time on. Just because, and I understand we need to get legal counsel on moving forward on things like this, but this does not guarantee that we're gonna win in court.
Nothing ever is guaranteed if you go to
Right.
court.
And courts are to protect the rights of the citizens, not city government. So they would more likely, unless things are just, you know, clear cut and dried, they tend to rule more with a citizen than city or municipal governments. That's just the thing I'm throwing out there that we need to be cautious about. Yes, we have an attorney that says move forward, but attorneys.
And we've gone back and forth with the attorney asking questions. I mean, he had detailed questions for Barbara to answer, and we've met each of those requirements that he said, so we don't take this lightly. We never take anything lightly when we have to go to legal counsel. So we did do our due diligence and certainly take into consideration what you're saying.
And I appreciate that. Just proceed with caution.
Absolutely.
Right, Councilwoman Pacheco.
So with that lawsuit, and it says secure compliance, demolish the structures and address property safety. Would that include that court order to demolish the entire property, or just the area that is not salvageable? Like with that back, I mean, if you could go all the way up to that, and that property could possibly be sold and renovated, or, I mean, or does that court order, is that gonna cover the entire property to completely demolish it?
Well, at this point, yes. If he had cooperated and had us pull out those structures to begin with, he would have been able to keep that property there. The back building, you know, providing he put it back into occupancy, you know, the windows and the way it was before. But now at this point, I mean, what are we gonna do with it? We can't do anything with the property. He can't do anything with it.
I guess that could be part of a motion, you know, if you're you know, want one direction or the other. Go ahead, Councilman Black.
I mean, I agree with you. I think right now our choices are, we're gonna live with this thing forever because apparently he doesn't have the money to do anything with it. Or we're gonna start the legal procedure, and if it gets to the point to where we're saying too much for us, we can stop it at that point. I don't want to do that, but I'm just saying that might be an option. But at this point, I think our options are start the legal procedure or sit here and live with it forever and ever, cause he doesn't have the money to do anything with it.
No. And, you know, at one point, he thought about selling it to us, and Randy and, Tyler were going back and forth on a price. And then he just drops off, you know, he'll go so far and then he just stops communicating. But that was an option, and it might be something he's interested in doing if we do proceed. Would the city be interested in buying it from him?
Vice Mayor Nelson had a question, and then Councilman
Well,
Dixon.
I really
comment.
like number 2. I like the option of, so there's the 3 options. I really like going to him and saying, it's gonna cost this much if we do legal, but right now, you can work with us and do this. I'd like to at least try that again before we expose ourselves like
So,
Mr.
can
Dixon.
I interject? We have sent communications to this gentleman continuously and keep getting pushed back, and, you know, he threatens a lawyer with us, and we go back and forth and ask him to clean it up, and nothing's happened. So we're at the point, to your point, Councilmember Black, we either, you know, keep going and sending letters and hope that he might do something and come up with some money to clean it, or, you know, we just live with it or move forward with legal action.
Alright, Councilman Dixon had a,
The correspondence that has gone back and forth, have we sent these things certified, signature
Of course.
required? Okay,
Absolutely.
okay,
And the last letter was through our legal counsel to
Right.
the gentleman.
okay. I'm looking at maybe a combination of alternative 1 and 2, to where, Barbie, you made a comment that kind of bothers me. You said, had he cooperated, and then something about keeping the back side of that. We need to avoid those things. I'm kind of thinking out loud right now that maybe demolishing and taking care of the burned out parts, and then giving him another opportunity, that's where alternative 2 would come in, to keep that back portion, and then give him the opportunity to restore that, revitalize it, and have it occupied. And then if there's code violations on that part of the building, then we could address that at a later time.
Councilwoman Tafoya. Let me go ahead and have her ask her question, and then we'll.
Okay, how long have you been working with this guy to get this building?
Since I
Taken
started
care
here, almost.
It's been years.
Over 2 years ago.
And it's been an eyesore for
Mhm.
years, prior to you coming and
It took
doing
me,
this
it
stuff.
took a year for me to get
And-
him to finally come out and clean it up.
I feel, I mean, Tim said, you know, just do this part and then leave that back part. Then how much longer are we gonna be dealing with and then have to go back to court and pay more money to demolish that back building? Cause if he's not gonna care about this part, I didn't see him caring about that back part after that front part's been demolished. That's just my
it's
opinion.
still an eyesore.
And it's still an eyesore, because it's just gonna be boarded up, sitting back there, and then nothing's gonna be there.
Alright,
I'm just
Councilwoman.
tired of looking at it.
So Tim is comparing the Knights Inn with this particular structure. Are they comparable?
I don't know anything
This
about
one's
the
bigger.
Knights Inn.
What was Knights Inn? It
was a
it
motel.
burned down and then,
Was there a lawsuit?
Yes.
Did the city sue and we lost?
Yes. I don't know all the details.
after
but
it
yes.
burned down,
Yes,
burned down and we wanted him to clean it up and he wouldn't.
Right.
and the city cleaned it up.
With or without a court order? Or
I-
what
I-
did he counter?
I don't remember if it was with or without a court order, but I just know that we lost.
I feel like that'd been one that maybe we went in with it and tried to clean it up without permission.
Without our
My
Well, this would
guess.
be different because we would have permission.
Right.
Right,
Court order.
because
So I
we've
think we
done,
should move forward
we
with
followed
it.
the process.
Your due
of
diligence.
everything.
Yeah.
And my opinion is, we know we've got a problem up and down Hopi and Navajo, and we've gotta start somewhere. We keep saying this is gonna be the council that actually makes a real difference and actually changes something. And if we keep talking, everybody's been saying for 5 years, well, let's just keep talking, and we are still in the same place. So I'm hopeful that, like you said, once the lawsuit's there, that'll motivate them. So that's my
Well-
opinion as well. And so, Councilman Dixon, you have a comment?
So this is to file the lawsuit. So then he's served with that lawsuit
Right.
and has the chance to address this in court, where the city attorney would present our side of it, and he would present his side of it, and then the judge would make a ruling. At that point, the judge could rule against the city, and then we stop there.
That's right.
We can't, just because we get a lawsuit going, doesn't mean that we can immediately start demolishing things.
That's not what she's saying.
No, I'm just saying
No,
with
I-
legal
I
action.
am not saying, I just, you have to be cognizant too, if you go in there and you clean up the property, and I'm running into this, next year, there's all the weeds again, there's the fence falling down, it's just ongoing, it doesn't stop. He's not up here, he's not local, he has nobody local here, he's not willing to pay out the money.
And where does he live?
He has no time.
He lives in Utah,
So does this take a motion?
so.
So I would like to go ahead and open the floor for a motion, so, and then we'll have a discussion still. Go ahead.
I make a motion to move forward with legal action based on the prior correspondence and lack of action.
I'll second it.
So basically number 1, alternative 1?
Yes.
And we got a second?
I'll second
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you for both you guys and all your hard work on this. All right, item number B, cybersecurity agreement with the Arizona Department of Homeland Security. Just a quick background, the city of Holbrook has the opportunity to participate in a cybersecurity initiative provided by the state of Arizona Department of Homeland Security. This program aims to enhance cybersecurity for counties, cities, K-12 institutions, and tribal organizations across Arizona by providing tools free of charge. The tools included are funded through ongoing state general fund appropriations. As part of the program, the Arizona Department of Homeland Security has purchased the licenses for these cybersecurity tools to achieve statewide efficiencies, cost savings, and better protection for local and regional networks. By purchasing these licenses on behalf of all participating entities, the state was able to secure economies of scale discounts, making this a cost-effective solution for the city. For Holbrook, the award licensees valued at $77,494.14 include access to the following products: Cloudflare and InfoSec IQ. The financial implications: there are no direct financial implications for the city, as the cybersecurity tools are provided free of charge through the Arizona Department of Homeland Security state-funded program. City manager, would
I really have nothing to add. I mean, this is something that Department of Homeland Security is offering to municipalities at no cost. And given the situation that we've had lately with being hacked, I believe that any type of cybersecurity that we can get and not pay for is a bonus for us. I did talk to them about email cybersecurity, which seems to be our situation. We're covered right now under KNS. They got us on a program. Department of Homeland Security says that they're in discussions with several organizations right now, but they don't have anything available. So we'll continue with KNS's offering until Department of Homeland Security can offer us something for free.
Great. Any Councilwoman Pacheco?
The InfoSec IQ, do they provide the training for like phishing, malware?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they have different programs, and that can all be offered to employees, like, don't click on this.
Like offered or required?
They have the training. That InfoSec is a training module, and I didn't look at it in detail, but what I did see, they have various training opportunities that I can pass on to the employees.
So, from my personal experience, the InfoSec, you are required to take these trainings by your agency. I mean, they're required. So
Every
that you,
employee?
Yeah, every employee. That way you're covered and you were trained on it, like not to click on this email or this link or
So I
suspicious.
haven't moved forward with Department of Homeland Security, obviously. About the infotech, I did go to their website and look at our account to see what our offering was. And I saw that there was training. I don't know if it's mandatory because I didn't move forward with it yet. But we'll do whatever training is necessary, and I can put that through probably our safety security officer to make sure that every employee gets
Yeah.
that training.
Because I know at my employer, every employee is required, not recommended, they are required to.
All right, so any more discussion about this agreement?
I'd like to make a motion.
All right, we'll open the floor. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this cybersecurity agreement allowing the city of Holbrook to leverage state-funded cybersecurity resources.
I'll
Second.
second it.
I think I got in before you.
We'll give it to Tim.
Tim seconded that.
So, all right,
I
any
do
further
have-
discussion? Go ahead.
I do have a question. So this is the Arizona Department of Homeland Security, but how much of this is federal funds and how much is just state funds? Do you know?
I don't know, I just know that it's, the value was what, the 77,000 for just the city of Holbrook. I'm sure other municipalities have other offerings and that were given to them, so I couldn't tell you.
All right, any
Thank you,
further
Sharon.
questions, discussion?
Do they have access to our data? I mean, are we buying this security system and then they can come in and spy on us?
Again, I didn't follow through because I don't have the blessing,
Yeah.
but I do not believe so, and that's the whole part of the Homeland Security is for them to protect us
So
and
I
just.
did read on page 5 of the contract, it says use of confidential information. It says a receiving party agrees to use confidential information solely in connection with the program and not for any purpose other than as authorized by this agreement without the prior written consent of an authorized representative of the disclosing party. I don't know if that covers it or not. I was looking for something similar. So, and they have this disclosure of confidential information. So on page 5 of the contract, it talks a little bit about, but
Well, we're still getting hacked on our email.
yeah. And as a reminder, if you get an email from me, it's not from me.
It is an emergency.
I do not need gift cards. I do not need to talk to you confidentially.
We're getting those emails because our emails are not secure and they're public everywhere. So anyone
Yeah, those aren't
are
through
not covered.
the
Yeah.
city.
And it's not through the city, because if you look, it's not my email.
So
It's
they
being actually
just,
hacked.
KNS just put that, I don't know what it is, iron something on all of
Iron
our
scales.
emails for the city. And I did get a call from KNS on Thursday saying that on Friday, they were going for the training for that to see how they can further protect us or see if, you know, what they can do. I haven't heard anything back from them as of today.
Okay, so we do have a motion, a second. Any further comments?
So would this be in place of KNS?
She said no. But this-
None of those programs that we got, it doesn't cover it, but when I did talk to, the Homeland Security, asking about the email protection, they're in negotiations and talks with other organizations to contract with them. So at this point, they don't have anything for email, but I'm on their list to contact when they do get something.
All right, so we ready for a motion, or,
Yep.
all right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. All right. Item number C, zoning variance for the Snowflake Solar. So just quickly, sorry. The city of Holbrook has the opportunity to, nope. The city of Holbrook's, I'm skipping right over it. There it is. Clenera, an independent power producer specializing in clean energy projects, is currently developing the Snowflake Solar LLC project north of Holbrook. This project will connect to the Choya substation, located approximately 8 miles west of Holbrook. Initially, a transmission and access easement agreement was signed with the city of Holbrook in October 2022, with an estimated construction start date of June 2024 and a commercial operation date of December 2025. However, due to development delays, the new estimate construction start date is February 2026, with an anticipated commercial operation date of December 2026. Clenera has revised the original transmission route, necessitating an amendment to the original agreement with the city of Holbrook. The new route now traverses 2 private properties north of Interstate 40. Clenera received approval for the required zoning variances on these properties through the Planning and Zoning Commission and now requests City Council approval to authorize the variances. The revised route also crosses Holbrook property from east to west, differing from the initial plan to follow the LaRue Wash route past the golf course and across Interstate 40. On August 14, 2024, the City Council reviewed the amended proposal, facilitating the continuation of the significant clean energy project. Would you like to clarify anything else?
No, you already have the original contract. I just have basic analysis of the old contract to the new contract to give you a little bit more information. Originally, they were going to pay $156,000 to the city. And that was 2.13 miles that they were going to utilize. Now that they're using 0.52 miles, they would be paying the city $3,000 per acre, so that's a little less than an acre. That would be the difference in what the city would be receiving from Snowflake Solar. Let me see. The amended easement includes 2 to 3 transmission line structures as opposed to the 8 to 10. Again, they're reducing their footprint, so they're reducing the amount of transmissions that are on there. And the amended easement will not exceed 200 feet in width as opposed to the 300 in the original.
All
So
right.
everything's downsized.
All right, Councilwoman Tapoya has a question.
So is this downsize more than when they came the last time and presented to us, when it was a change from the first time we approved it?
It's, I believe this is
No,
what
this
we're actually.
last one, this last one is this.
This right here.
So this is brought to you because they had to go to 2 property owners to get permission to go on through, cut through their property to continue on with the project and onto ours. So those 2 individual property owners had to get a variance on their properties for Snowflake Solar to pass through.
Okay, so
So
this
they
isn't
went through
anything
plan-
different from when they presented
Correct.
before? Okay.
So they had to go through P&Z to get the variance. P&Z is, giving the recommendation to let them go ahead because they got approval through the individual landowners, and this will just continue their path across those private properties.
So basically tonight, we're just approving the variance.
Correct.
So,
Because you already approved
the
the
contract.
contract.
Okay.
And the contract had the changes on the errors, it said Interstate 18
Yeah,
or whatever to
yeah.
Interstate 40.
Correct.
All right, any further questions or discussions? Hearing none, we'll open the floor for a motion.
I make a motion to approve Clenera's requested variance.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, Councilwoman Pack. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, item number D, the asphalt zipper. I'm most excited about this tonight.
Yeah.
So, a little background, the City of Holbrook Street Department has identified a need for more efficient and cost-saving methods for road maintenance and repair. The asphalt zipper offers a robust solution, allowing city employees to cut and pulverize existing asphalt in a single pass and reuse the material as a road base. This eliminates the costly and time-intensive process of saw cutting, trucking, and disposal. The asphalt zipper features an adjustable baffle to create material that meets specified standards and a unique zipped edge, which has been proven to improve joint bond strength by 25% over traditional methods. These capabilities translate into longer lasting repairs and reduced maintenance cycles. A recent demonstration confirmed that the streets department staff can easily operate the asphalt zipper, and they are eager to incorporate it into their workflow. This piece of equipment will enable the department to complete projects more efficiently and cost effectively, minimizing reliance on external contractors. The ability to undertake timely repairs will ensure the city is not beholden to contractor schedules, ultimately leading to a quicker, more reliable service for the community. So the financial implications says the 2024 special municipal promotion offers the asphalt zipper with no down payment, a competitive municipal interest rate of 5.85%, allowing the city to spread costs over 5 years with the first payment deferred by a full year. The estimated annual payment is $71,744.23 with the flexibility for early payoff, which would yield even greater savings. This promotion also provides Holbrook with a $22,990 in credits, including a 2x warranty, a free starter package, and the AccuFlow system. However, it expires at the end of 2024 with no guarantee of the availability of pricing in 2025. So it says, with projected savings expected to exceed the annual payment after just 40 hours of use, the asphalt zipper will quickly pay for itself. Furthermore, as part of the HGAC government purchasing cooperative, the city can bypass a formal bid process, making acquisitions faster and easier. So I did hear that we had a demonstration like a week and a half ago, it was. So
We did, and I do have Jason from the streets department here to answer any questions you have. So we did do a demo, it was done on the 29th. This picture that you have is the result after about a week and a half. I got this maybe on Tuesday, so, yeah, so it's been 2 weeks. So this is, a 3-inch mill that was just the milling of the road itself. There was no water added to it, there was no compound added to compact it and press it down that would normally occur. And this is what the road looks like 2 weeks after it was done, and it's been driven on. The potholes are gone, there are no washboard effects on it, it's pretty compact. There is the opportunity, this machine comes with a water tank in the front, a water tank or Jason could probably say what the material, what the liquid is that actually binds it, so you can either do it with water or another liquid to actually compact it down, and it can go for at least a year before it might need chip sealing.
do you mind if we bring Jason up and have him talk about it?
How's it going, council?
That way I don't say anything incorrect.
Yeah, the additive is a concrete additive, and it drastically reduces the time where you can do a chip seal. If you do the additive, you can do a chip seal within like a week. As to where if there's no additive in there, you'd have to wait for cars to go over for about a year, and then we'd be able to chip seal it after it gets to compaction. But that additive, it just makes everything quicker. So
Let's stay there for a minute, if you don't mind. So how did the showing go for you?
good. I ran the zipper for most of the day. The instructor showed us, and then I ran it the rest of the day, and it's pretty simple. If you get an experienced crew that knows what they're doing, we can do stuff to improve the roads, because we all know the roads are bad.
Really? Just kidding. Sorry.
This is golf course road.
Yeah.
Exactly, and Jason,
Yes.
we had discussions.
Frontage.
It would take, what, 2 weeks to do the whole golf course
Was this a
road?
golf course road?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
on golf course road. That's
This is the
right
golf
after the
course?
second turn, going in, right after the first cattle guard.
Okay. The Councilwoman Pacheco
I
has
have
some.
quite a few questions. So, this is just the milling of the road, not compacting it with like a compactor,
But
correct?
we rolled it.
Oh, you did roll it?
We
Yeah.
milled it up, and then we went and leveled it out with the Gannon, and then I went and rolled it, and then we wet it, then I rolled it again, and then let it sit for a while, then I rolled it again to where compaction was there with the roller.
Okay.
But, nothing beats vehicles going over
Yeah.
compaction.
Do we know what the maintenance is gonna be like? Like the teeth, replacement of teeth?
They have a maintenance program for that, if we go into it deeper. I think,
Is that with that warranty, or are we gonna have to pay for that, or will our own employees?
no, we wouldn't do any maintenance on it, that would be them, because it's from them, and then it's their maintenance program.
And it comes with an extra set of teeth.
Do you know how
Initially.
long, cause the research I had done and spoke with some other agencies that have this same, or use this machine, that the teeth need to be replaced about every 50 to about 100 feet, that you're having to check them because of how, are we wanting to do an entire road on this, or fix
We're-
potholes and,
Well, we could do multiple things with that. We can refurbish alleys with it. We can go in and redo alleys. We can mill down and take 2 inches out for a company to come in and do an overlay. Or we could take 6 inches out and just start the whole road all over again. But we could use that material as a base material, because the way it's ground up, it's very compacted once you mill it.
so there's additives you can add that we could do ourselves, correct?
Yeah, there's a tank on the front of it where you can put the concrete additive, and it mixes in, once it mills it up, it mixes in with the product, and then that's when you could go in and blade it and roll it, and then it becomes solid.
Is that, the concrete additive, is that the same as the hot mix, like the asphalt?
No.
It's not the same.
It's different.
Okay.
And I would check on your statement about that, you know, every
Yeah, the
50,
teeth.
because that's not what we were told. I don't have the exact numbers, I didn't.
Says you could go through teeth about every 20 to 80 feet of pavement.
No, because he
No,
told
we
us
did.
we could go through that whole,
Yeah.
we could do Olive Golf Course Road, which is what, a little less than 2 miles?
1.7 miles.
And
That
10 to
doesn't sound right.
150
50
feet
feet of
that can
pavement?
go at any
No, 'cause
time.
we did that,
Each of
the
every
milling we
hundred
did right
feet
there
right
was like
there.
50 every
120
50
feet.
So did you hear that? He said this right here was 120 feet.
Yeah.
And
so-
there,
There
and
was
there
no
was
issues
No,
whatsoever,
with teeth whatsoever?
no.
none.
And it comes, what impressed me, that it stuck with me, is that it comes with an extra set of teeth.
Do we know how much the teeth cost to replace?
Well, if you go to the dentist,
Well, yeah, well, I'm just.
So we
saying-
didn't go into the details,
Okay.
I mean, that was what, 4 hours that we did the demo?
Yeah, we did that 120 feet and we were done by lunchtime, but that means milling it up, compacting it, rolling it, blowing it, and doing the final steps of picking up traffic control.
Yeah.
That was about 3.5, 4 hours.
The maintenance agreement that they would be maintaining this machine, this zipper, is that, do we know what the cost is gonna be on the maintenance of it?
It's on the
Or,
If I was
is it gonna-
looking it up today, it was like in warranty, like she said, that it's included.
Yeah, so the
Kinda like a
warranty I
car
saw was
warranty.
a 2-year warranty. So we would only have their maintenance agreement, them maintaining it for that 2 years, and then after that, it's gonna be our responsibility?
Well, I think if it's gonna be a lease for 5 years, I think they'll maintain it.
Oh, so
Yeah.
we're leasing, I thought we were
Well,
purchasing
it's
it.
lease purchase, cause you've gotta make that one-time payment every year. It's a program that they have. But I'm sure that they'll, keep the maintenance on it as long as we're paying for it.
So after that 5 years, is that gonna, we will own it?
On it.
So then the maintenance after, once we own it.
Oh, and then we
Would
can
be-
go back and negotiate it, I'm sure, so.
But I
So,
think it would be beneficial.
So 1 second, so
Yeah.
as soon as you're done with your questions, then Councilman Black had a question, and then Councilman.
No, that was it, I
Patzel.
just wanted to get,
Okay.
know that
And then-
stuff, some of that.
So, alright, Councilman Black.
I mean, I'd love to see this, but our problems with our streets. I mean, granted, they all need to be redone, but we can't do that. How many street employees do we have?
5 altogether.
We have 5 street employees. But our biggest problem in this town is potholes. This
Right.
machine does nothing for potholes. You're not
Well,
gonna dig up one little pothole and put another thing
Well,
down.
since we have so many potholes, we could do stretches
the
at a
whole
time.
stretch.
A lot of them are a pothole here and then
I actually
100
I
yard.
actually did a video search on this asphalt zipper, and one of the things was potholes, that was
Yeah.
something
They could even-
promoted.
Potholes in the curb.
Like for utilities, if they're gonna come in and put a power line down the road, we can cut out for utilities to where it makes a cleaner cut and easier to put, coal mix back down.
Well, I understand that, but I'm talking about potholes. Our streets are covered with potholes. You're saying
But you're
this-
not gonna just dig up a little pothole, you're
Well,
gonna
do the
take out a
whole
Like I
whole
said,
portion
that'll
of
probably be
it.
That's
explained
what
to
I'm
the
saying.
thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, is this worth doing that compared to patching a pothole? I mean, this is
Well, you saw the
303,000.
Yeah, the potholes
We
aren't
are
working
doing
either.
potholes now, we're repairing them, we started in Arizona and Buffalo, and we're just, with the crew I have, we're just trying to make progress on a little bit of everything around what we have going on. I can't just focus on one thing and then leave everything else neglected. So that's what I'm just trying to do, like potholes every once a week, twice a week, and then move on to do other things as well, cause then I'll get behind.
But this could do all of our streets, which are much needed. And again, it would be in long
So-
stretches.
We have 2 people in front of you. Alright, anything else, Councilman Black?
No.
Okay, Councilwoman Pack?
So
And then
in
to
your
Floyd.
expertise with doing roads, are there any cons to it?
I think the only con I would think of is getting our crew acclimated to how the thing operates, but it's pretty user-friendly. So I caught on within minutes, so I think it would be beneficial for us. And I don't think it's a want, I think it's a necessity, because it would, increase our production tenfold. Like, if somebody is doing a project that usually takes a month, they're doing it in 2 to 3 days. That's how fast, fast it just improves on the roads. And I don't know, I just think if we want to improve Holbrook streets, I mean, this would be very beneficial.
So,
I like
Right.
the
One
idea
second,
that,
there's
and
a couple people ahead.
I looked at a lot of YouTube things on how it was done. It's
Mhm.
pretty impressive, actually.
So Jason and I spoke with Tim Kelly this morning as well. And if we just did Golf Course Road, the machine would pay for itself because we would end up paying at least $5 million to a contractor to come in and do that close to 2 miles worth of road. And then he did say it would probably take about 2 weeks, depending on the weather. If we focused on Golf Course Road alone, we could have all of that done. A half day versus 2 days for a 6 foot by 20 foot, 3-inch patching or utility patching on our roads. Again, to Jason's point, would cut the time down for our personnel to start upgrading our streets.
All right, Councilwoman Tafoya and then Councilman Dixon.
So we have 5 employees with the streets,
Yeah.
so they would all be trained to use this and use it appropriately and
Correctly.
wisely.
Yes, 100%.
So that, I mean, I'm just talking, I think about the street sweeper that we spent all that money on, and I never see it anywhere.
Well, it's down right now.
And it's been broke down for, I don't know how long.
But we
Well,
ran
it's
out the
just
other day.
used last
That's
week.
just,
Yeah.
you know, I don't wanna purchase this and spend this amount of money and then it's gonna sit there and be broken.
Correct, well, it won't sit, I can guarantee you that, because we'll run it.
And I have to say that we do have a new crew. Some of them are real fresh into streets, public works, but they're being trained and they're being trained right. And the team that we have now respects the equipment, respects their job and the quality of work that they do. So I think you'll see a big difference from what was in the past to what we're moving forward.
So
And
we have,
that's
any
good to
other-
hear.
Yeah. Sorry. Right, any other question or comment? Councilman Dixon, then Councilwoman.
Okay,
Patton.
so, I have a few questions about this. So the picture I'm seeing, is that loose asphalt gravel?
That's what we milled up with that machine. We went down 3 inches and milled up that section. And then the way it did is chewed it up. And then we went in and bladed it, got it level, and then we rolled it and compacted it. And if you go out there right now, and that's without any additive. And it's holding up well.
So what
That's
I'm asking though, is this loose? In other words, is it gonna create a hazard for people driving out there for what was really bad asphalt and now is loose gravel?
No.
It's
not.
it's rolled over.
To your point, it was loose gravel before it was compacted, so this is almost like an asphalt road being redone.
Will you
Okay.
go back and add the additives to the rest of the
Well,
road
that
if you did it?
we can't.
That was just a
Going-
sample.
But the going forward, if you
If
did the
going
rest of it?
forward, if we have the additive, we'll do it right then and there. And then after we do it and roll it, it hardens up and it's there.
And that's your plan, is to add the additives,
Yes.
correct? Okay, sorry.
So, this is only for asphalt,
No,
not
it's not.
concrete?
You could do alleyways with it.
No, I'm asking if it can do concrete.
No, it's an asphalt zipper.
Okay, cause a lot of our roads now downtown here are concrete
We have a lot of asphalt roads too.
and in pretty poor shape. Okay. And a question for you, I love the idea of this thing. I'm impressed. I think our roads need to be done. Started probably with Golf Course Road. What I don't like is going into debt for anything. We've just paid off some debts. And this is a debt for 5 years. Can you speak to that?
First off, our first payment wouldn't be for a full year, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Randy?
Now look at him, he's freezing.
I haven't
As
seen-
we all are.
we have this in our
We have money in our budget
budget for
the
it,
equipment.
that it wouldn't, we won't go into debt, we won't have a loan out for it. So it's something that we've already got, if we had to pay it right now, we'd be able to pay the first years.
And how much money do we have in, CIP?
This year we budgeted, I believe, 700 for equipment.
700,000.
Yeah.
Is there any HERF funds that can
One
be
second.
used on that?
That's what this would be paid out of, is her funds.
Okay,
Along with this, we'll have to look at getting a roller, so we can roll it properly, and maybe a Gannon to help us lay it
okay.
back down.
So,
But those were budgeted items as well.
okay, so why do we have something here for, a 5-year loan, if you will, for 71,744 per year at 5.85% interest, when we can just go ahead and pay for this thing out of our CIP and her funds?
If you wanna pay for it up front, instruct us to pay for it up front.
Would it still be covered under the warranty? Under that maintenance agreement?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
separate.
that's
That's
what comes with
Oh,
the
okay,
purchase.
that's the only thing I'm worried about.
I wanna move forward with this, but I don't like any kind of debt. I think the city should stay out of debt. So if we can do that, and if we make a motion, just pay for this thing outright.
Alright, we're close to making a motion. Did you have one more comment before we go there?
Front end loader. Our front end loader is the right size and whatnot to push
No, well,
this?
this time we use our backhoe with it.
Backhoe, yeah.
Oh, you did with the back?
Yeah, and the way you do is you get the bucket, you scoop in there, tie some chains around it, and then you go to the machine itself and push some buttons, and it sucks up the chains, ties it to its specifications, and then you just move on from there.
So our backhoe or whatever piece of tractor that we're pushing this with, it's capable, it's rated for that.
Yes,
We're not pulling, okay.
we can either use the backhoe or the front end loader,
Okay.
depending on what we want.
That was my only question, make sure we had the proper equipment. We're not pulling a big old trailer with a half-ton truck.
No, you actually steer it. I'm on the ground and I can steer the zipper and the backhoe to wherever direction I want it to go with lines. And there's a person in the seat of the backhoe, and all he does is just use brakes to go slower. Cause the slower you go, the more finer the millings you get, the faster you go, the chunkier it gets. So, you gotta find that perfect pace to get what you want, to maximize it.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, so Councilwoman Tafoya.
So if we were to pay this outright, just pay it, what would our cost be?
Right here.
Is this 303,150? Is that what it is, or does that include the interest and stuff that we would be paying if we
There
made
shouldn't be any
payments?
interest.
Yeah, it's 5.85.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying, if we paid for
If we
it.
paid
Right.
this.
If we just paid it outright, would it be the 303?
Mhm, because with that percent interest is showing an extra
What does it have on the contract?
Yeah.
I don't have a copy.
303,150.
Yeah, we would
Before
be
the
saving
interest?
$58,000 to pay for it outright.
Yeah. Alright, with that, I'd like to open the floor for a motion.
I'd make a motion that we purchase the asphalt zipper, but pay for it outright with whatever funding we have, instead of the 5-year program.
If we did that, would we miss the credits? There's 22,000 of credits, 15,000 and 8,000 of credits.
I feel like this says this if you buy it before 2024 is
Yeah.
up,
That's how I
so
understood it
that's how I
too.
read it, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion.
I'll second Tim's motion.
Alright, do we have any other questions? Discussion? Alright, hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. We're excited. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, appreciate it.
Well, what's the turnaround? When can we get this?
Sharon, do you know when the turnaround is, when we can get it?
I don't, we didn't discuss that when we went through, because we were just focusing on getting the road done and trying to push them to do more of a
Good
road.
presentation.
Thank you,
Yes.
appreciate that.
We do appreciate all your work too.
I just don't wanna get it and see it broke down
So.
over and over again.
That's what we got that made.
Just don't let me drive it.
Alright, moving on to item number E, resolution 24-14. Alright, so let me go to tab 8, get to the right one here. 9. Alright, background, it says Holbrook, Arizona has faced economic challenges over the past decade with a population decline of 4.2% between the 2010 and the 2020 census. This decline is largely due to the closure of the Troy power plant, limited local industry, and lack of diverse services, which has led many residents to relocate to larger communities for employment and essential services. To address these issues, the City of Holbrook proposes a series of capital improvement projects focused on upgrading and maintaining existing public infrastructure. These projects, which include improvement to the city pool, the hidden golf course road, clubhouse, and pump station, and the Odell Hidden Cove Park and Bird Sanctuary, are key to Holbrook's broader economic development strategy. This strategy aims to improve the quality of life for residents, revitalize critical infrastructure, and increase local revenue, setting a foundation for sustained community growth and economic development. Financial implications. The estimated funding requirement for these capital improvement projects is $8 million. At this time, the city is only seeking council's approval to apply for a loan through the Greater Arizona Development Authority. Approval to apply for the loan does not obligate the city to accept or implement the loan upon approval. It merely allows the city to explore the financing option as a means of supporting these essential infrastructure projects. The useful life of these improvements is expected to exceed 25 years, offering long-term benefits through increased economic activity and infrastructure stability. With that, we do have, sorry, who did you say we have on the phone from the Greater Arizona Development Authority?
No, we have Zach, who was working with Alan Quist, our legal counsel, but he's a bond specialist, so he's worked with GATA and WIFO, which are type of the same programs.
Okay, perfect. Well, welcome, Zach. We're gonna turn a few minutes over to our city manager to kind of go over the highlights of this.
So, we had the opportunity, several of us that went to the league, met with Mary Foote from GATA, which is the Arizona Finance Authority. She presented an opportunity for municipalities to basically put in an application for funding. It's I guess I could say a pool of funding. They get municipalities together, put in an application for whatever amounts that they want, and then they go after bonds to distribute to the municipalities that apply for it. That's the financing in a nutshell. Taking that into consideration, we looked at opportunities to increase our capital improvement in facilities for the city, which would be the pool that needs to be redone, and in that you have a pool estimate. It's just a basic estimate. There was a short timeline in getting this information to Mary so we can move forward and then get whatever we need for council to get this approved just for an application. We know that everything would have to go out to bid if approved, and we get this bond. So the estimates that you see there are just one estimate, quick estimate. But the projects, the capital improvement projects are road improvement, the 2 miles at for the golf course, the clubhouse renovation at the golf course. The pump station there needs to be updated. It's long overdue for servicing. We've got koi, for the lack of another species, going through the pump into the pump house. Again, it's 30 some odd.
It's old. It's not supported anymore. Our
Right.
pump house, we're on thin ice. If we lose it, there's a 7-month lead time. Just
Right.
that's before we can get any work done. So
And in addition to that, we're hoping that we get the clubhouse renovated, we get that up and running, we get the restaurant back in there, we can bring people in to have events, increase the golfers that come in, renting golf course, the golf carts, just get the golf course up and running to the way I hear it used to be. Odell Hidden Cove and the, is it
Petroglyph Park.
the Petroglyph Park, but the other, I don't know, is it a lagoon or it's the overflow from the
we have a pond up there.
So the
Great
pond,
Heron Pond. Yeah.
where we have the birds in the bird sanctuary, if you will. The trails there need to be upgraded. They're overgrown and just need to be taken care of. also have some ramadas there that are in disrepair, so we'd like to fix those up. Again, the city pool and the facilities there, we've had tiles leaking, the bottom of the pool cracking. If you've been to the actual changing facilities and bathrooms in there, they're really old and need modernization. I'm hoping to get, if we can move forward with this, some type of an enclosed pool so we can open the pool year round. That's a little bit more costly if we have an enclosed one. I wouldn't want it fully enclosed because then we come into the moisture and mold and mildew and that, so there's gotta be a happy medium there, but I think if we even semi-enclose it and eliminate some of the dust and dirt that goes in, it will reduce the stress on the vacuum and the pumps that go there, and we'd be able to open longer. So those are those projects, and again, that it would just extend the useful life of those facilities and just have more offerings for our residents to enjoy all the recreational opportunities that we have here.
So I have a question. So I know this proposal in front of us just to approve a authorization for the application. However, if we go ahead and approve it, how set are we on these projects? Because I would love to have a conversation in January when we start doing the budget talks to make sure these are the projects as a council, these are our top priorities and things like that. If we go ahead and proceed with the application, can we change the projects? If we keep it into that 8 million, can we change that bottom line?
I'm not an expert on GATA. Again, GATA was in place, and then they shut it down for 7 years. They're now bringing it back.
So can I ask Zach if he knows that
I
answer?
would ask Zach.
Zach, are
he's
you there
more
with us?
familiar.
Yep, hi everybody. Thank you. In response to the question, so there's two parts of the question. Can we change the projects and can we change the amount? And so let me do the easier one first. With respect to the amount, we can, let's say GATA approves an $8 million loan to the city. We can always do a lower loan amount, but we won't be able to go higher than what they've approved. So the ultimate loan amount can change, but it would go down from what we apply for, and not above that amount.
Okay.
That was point one. With respect to the projects, I would imagine we can work with GATA. There's some flexibility leading up to the point when GATA is ready. So the way that GATA will finance, will have funds available to loan to the city for the project, is GATA will go out and sell its own bonds. And GATA will be required to make representations to investors in those bonds regarding the projects and the nature of those projects to ensure that they qualify for a tax exempt status and that they'll be used by a governmental entity. So I suspect if necessary, we can work with GATA to possibly change some of the projects up to a certain point. But at some point we will need to lock in, what our plan is and what projects will be financed, because the city will be required in the loan documentation with GATA to make certain representations and have reasonable expectations as to how the money's going to be spent.
Thank you, appreciate that. We're gonna go ahead and open up the floor for some additional questions. So Zach, we may come back and forth to you, if that's all right. So who's first? Councilman Black.
I'm just suggesting we be very careful with this. I agree with Tim. I don't like to see us going in debt, but I also realize that we got stuff we need to do, but when do we have to say yay or nay to applying for this?
The application has to be in by the 1st of December.
So we have to make a decision.
If we want to apply,
Right,
if we want to
but
apply.
we have to decide on what we want done with that.
That's
when we
right. I'm
submit
totally
the
opposed to some of the
application.
stuff that I see this money going to. Our big thing was when we was gonna get money for recreation, we were looking at our kids, our youngsters, doing stuff for them. I'm seeing a lot of this not having anything to do with that, and I'm not opposed. Personally, I'd like to see the public, what they feel about this, because $8 million is a lot of money that you're gonna be asking to be paid back by the citizens of Holbrook. And what happens if we don't make the deadline by December? I mean, that's pretty quick, but I don't like where this money's going.
Okay, Councilwoman Pack,
So the application is, we have to put the application in by December 1st. That doesn't mean, I mean, we could not be
And then
selected for
it goes through their process.
Yeah.
I believe they're not even they're gonna discuss it sometime in December. So we won't hear, I don't know, Zach, if you know what their time frame is, but at least January, February, I don't.
Zach, do you know what the timeline is?
I suspect that the GATA board will consider the submitted applications soon, right, after they're due, and then start communicating with the various applicants for loans and start working out some of the details. And that could take January, February. That's the part, the exact timing of when GATA will sell bonds and be ready to loan the money out. Everybody's estimating first quarter of next year, but where, does that mean February or does that mean March in the first quarter? That part is still to be determined.
All right, thank you. So Vice Mayor Nelson and then Councilman Dixon.
So what would the current interest rate be for a municipality like ours? I know we're combining with others, but what would be our payback on $8 million, would it be? I mean, right now, what would be your best guess?
Are you asking Zach or administration?
Zach.
Sure, and so again, I'm not a financial advisor or a banker, it always depends what you're planning to pledge, right? Often for some of the cities that do bonds that pledge a property tax, right, a general obligation bond, that's gonna have a lower interest rate than an excise tax pledge or a sales tax pledge that, the city's considering for this GATA loan. The nice part of using GATA is it will have most likely have a higher credit rating than what the city could achieve on its own. Again, so estimating, and I'm being conservative because I don't want to overpromise, but let's call it 4.5% to 5%, possibly lower and closer to 4% money. Again, just market dependent on when they actually sell bonds and are able to loan funds. The market could change dramatically with a new administration heading into the first quarter of next year.
All right, thank you, Zach. All right, Councilman Dixon has a question or comment.
So, under section 4 of the resolution, it says that excise tax revenues and state shared revenues are committed as the source of loan repayments. So it doesn't really give us any leeway on that. Am I correct, Sharon?
I'm happy to respond to that.
Go ahead, Zach.
Very helpful, if you'd like. Sure. So God is looking for a sales tax and state shared revenue pledge as the source of repayment. One of the features that GATA has to protect itself is if a borrower becomes delinquent, GATA can instruct the state treasurer to withhold part of the state shared revenues from the state. I've never had that happen, but it's something they have available in the event that they became delinquent. Now, as always with any of these, just because you are pledging local sales taxes and state shared revenues, to the extent the city has other available sources of repayment. So, for example, at the pool or the golf course, certain user fees or other charges that are levied that otherwise wouldn't be part, you can still use those to repay, but they're not necessarily pledged to the repayment. So what GATA looks for is just that excise tax and state shared revenue pledge as a source of repayment, but that doesn't restrict you from using other, generally available funds of the city to pay principal and interest on the loan.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I tend to agree with myself and Robert about going into debt, just like I spoke about the previous issue. Debt is almost never a good thing. And we're committing the citizens to $8 million or less if we decide that. But at 4% interest, of course, I didn't amortize it, but that's a $320,000. We do have CIP, and I think, Randy, you said about $700,000 in that fund. Is that correct?
That was just for her funds.
Oh, that's HERF?
Yeah.
What's CIP at right now?
We have about 250 in there, but that's what we used for vehicles.
Okay. And some of these things, I know they need to be addressed pretty quickly. We've been looking at these issues for years, like the city pool. It's had problems for years. But if we could decide to just tackle one of those issues every year and over a period of a few years, that we can have those things addressed. But instead, this loan would obligate the citizens for hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest fees. So, those could be easily used for other things. The other thing is, under financial implications on the first page of the council action item request, it says it merely allows the city to explore this financing option as a means of supporting these essential infrastructure projects. Well, we know how government is. If they can get other money, they'll do it. And I understand we need to be frugal, and we do need to pursue sources of revenue, but those sources of revenue comes out of the citizens' pockets, whether it's the citizens of Holbrook, or the citizens of Arizona, or the citizens of the United States. It's not free money. And again, we're gonna have to repay it, but at hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest. And again, I don't like going into debt.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Pacheco.
In order to apply, do we have to state on that application what we're gonna use the funds for?
That's, the application is part of the project, so you have to list what projects, how you're gonna spend this money. And that's why I had to get quotes for each of those projects. And I just want to address Councilman Black's comment about this not targeting the kids. One, the pool does, I understand that. But I'm also, unfortunately, I did receive word today that the pump ramp grant that I put in for, we did not get that. But I'm still pursuing other opportunities. I got an email today with a proposal for fixing, taking out all the golf course, mini golf course and stuff back here where the splash pad is that isn't being utilized, and putting in a play area for 6 to 13-year-olds, and then eventually refurbishing the pad out there in the splash pad. And part of that is a matching grant. So I am looking at other opportunities for the teens. I'm still in talks with the skate park people to redo a skate park behind the pool area that we have. City property where we were gonna have the skate park and the pump track right behind the pool. So I am looking at other opportunities, thinking that this GATA application would handle those major projects that won't be done if we have to piecemeal them every year. I thought this was an opportunity. I too do not like loaning, borrowing money and getting in debt, but otherwise I'm trying to find a way to fix things that our residents have more of an opportunity for recreational opportunity, bring in funding, in particular to the golf course that's losing $126,000 every year. If we fix it up, we'd be bringing in money and be able to spend even profits not only on the golf course but other recreational activities that might help even more with the playgrounds or the skate track or the pickleball and tennis courts that still need to be redone. So I'm still continuously looking for activities, especially for our youth, because I'd rather have them out there playing and doing things instead of tagging our property or finding other ways to get into trouble.
Right, thank you. So,
I got one.
okay, go ahead.
Just, I would like to see us pursue what you and I started with the county about the land behind the pool. If you remember that conversation, you know, about them, you know, they're not, you know, last conversation we had at Romos when we met with them,
Right.
I mean, they seemed like they were willing to talk about deeding that land over to us.
So I did speak with the county manager after that conversation, and he is gonna get back to me.
So we don't get too far off. So to your point, there's more of a conversation to this here. So, sorry, I just wanna keep focus on here, but to your point is saying, hey, there's more of a conversation before we make this decision, is that kind of?
But this, correct, this is just saying we
Just,
can
just
apply
because
it.
we're gonna apply doesn't mean we're gonna be selected,
Correct. So,
correct?
and then
That's
we're not
correct.
obligated either.
And then we're
so-
not obligated to do it.
Then we can choose then to go forward or not. Did you have an extra comment?
I just wanted to make the point. that this is
And I agree with it. I said right off the bat that I don't mind us going forward with it, but let's be really careful.
I'm already in conversation with Leighton on that.
Okay.
All right, Councilwoman Tafoya.
All right, I'm not against just going forward and applying for this. My concern is what we put in there that we wanna spend this money on,
Yeah.
and then we're obligated to spend it on those, whatever we put in there.
Well-
And we don't have the opportunity to change that.
He said potentially we could. so
Potentially,
Yeah,
but-
and I get it.
But
I mean,
if we're dictated, but if they tell us we're not necessarily gonna get the 8 million, it could be less. So that's gonna dictate what we can spend our money on,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
pretty much, but
Okay,
it's still
so
gonna
we'll
be
have to
those
change,
projects
yeah.
that were put in the application.
So this
to
is what
begin
I
with.
would like to see. I would like to say, yes, let's approve moving forward just to see what they have. But in the meantime, I want to see us get together with a strategic plan because to Councilman Black's point, there's a lot of other projects that we may want to change. And so say we come back together, we move forward the application, these projects. We say, no, actually, we want these projects. They say, no, we won't do that. Fine, we walk away. And
Okay.
so that's my thoughts on it. I would like to go ahead and open the floor for a motion
I'll
since
make
everybody's
a,
had.
I'll
Go
make a
ahead.
motion to approve, the request to apply for the, GATA loan.
Okay, great. Got a motion?
I can second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further question or discussion?
Which actually means that you have to approve the resolution, which is
Okay.
part of the application.
Thank you. So let's go ahead and modify that.
I will modify that to approve the resolution
But, wait.
24-14.
Can you read
I'll
the-
read it first. Yes,
Oh.
thank you. So, in regards to resolution number 24-14, a resolution of the mayor and the city council of the city of Holbrook, Arizona, authorizing the application for a loan from the Greater Arizona Development Authority. I can do it by heading only. So, now we'll open the floor for a motion.
I make a motion to approve resolution 24-14, authorizing the application for a loan from the Greater Arizona Development Authority.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, any further question or discussion? We'll go to a roll call vote.
Okay, Councilmember Black,
Aye.
Councilmember Dixon,
Nay.
Vice Mayor Nielsen,
Aye.
Councilmember Pacheco,
Aye.
Councilmember Pack,
Aye.
Councilmember Tafoya,
Aye.
Mayor Smith.
Aye. All right, motion passes. And in the meantime, we'll get with Zach on timelines and see, and even while they're figuring that out, let's get together and start figuring out our priorities sooner than later, so we can start that discussion in December, so. All right, thank you, everyone. All right, item number F. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you, Zach.
All right. For the conditional use permit for Western States Developing, I believe they were gonna be getting on the phone as well, is that right, Lisa?
Did you get him on the phone? Did you tell him to call?
Are you talking to Barbara?
Yes.
So they'll be calling in? All right, while we wait for them to call in, I'm gonna go ahead and read through the action item. All right, so. Hello, you were at the Holbrook City Council meeting. Who do we have on the phone?
Hello, this is Cody Newton on behalf of Western States
All right.
Development.
Thank you, Cody, for joining us. we're gonna go ahead and read through a little bit of the background, and then we will open the floor up for some questions probably for you. Well, I know there will be some. All right, a little background. It says, Western States Developing LLC has submitted a proposal to establish a high-impact medical facility within city limits. The project will involve establishing a detox center serving the growing needs of the local and surrounding communities. The proposal was reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Commission, who recommended approval of the conditional use permit contingent on compliance with specified zoning and safety requirements. This recommendation follows a thorough evaluation of the facility's potential impact on surrounding areas, infrastructure, and alignment with Holbrook's general plan for land use and community development. There is no financial implications to the city. So with that, we have in front of us in our packets the conditional use permit application, along with the letter from Cody, going through a little bit of the information that we kind of just read about, asking that the applicant seeks to establish a detox center as defined in section 6-1-3 of the Holbrook City Code. So in this, there's a map, and it's right behind Alberto's. So they got the project description, and there's some extra information and things like that too. So with that, I know I have a few questions, but I'll open the floor to some other people first, and maybe some of those questions will be answered. So Cody, we're gonna ask you some questions if you're good with that.
I'm great with questions.
Awesome.
Come on.
All right. Councilman Dixon's gonna be first up.
Hi, Cody.
Hey, how are you today?
Good. Define high impact.
Medical impact.
High impact medical facility. Define that, please.
And so that was defined using, that was nomenclature from City of Holbrook's city code. High impact and low impact were the two defining factors for medical facilities. How I interpreted, or how we interpreted the difference between high and low impact really became apparent that high impact or low impact would be professional offices like a doctor's office, dentist's office, chiropractor, veterinary clinic, etc. Where high impact would be anything outside of that, meaning 24-hour care, urgent care, hospitals, nursing care facilities, places where patients would be, there in a 24-hour period.
Okay, and so Western States Developing LLC is to establish to build this, is the construction? Or is this, are you guys running the facility?
Western States Development is the partnership group that owns the property and will be developing the building, developing the property out, and then the detox facility itself has yet to be formally named or identified. We've identified the name of the building, but Western States is going to be the ownership LLC.
Okay, so it says the project will involve establishing a detox center. Will this facility be used for anything else?
Medical detox and a one of the standpoints that we will have in there, in addition to the detox, which is ancillary, is going to be observation. And the observation unit is not necessarily something where an individual will admit for the full detoxification process, but it gives an alternative to local law enforcement or public for individuals who may be under the influence to have a safe place to be medically supervised and hopefully coerced, not negatively coerced, but positively influenced to pursue a medically managed withdrawal treatment for beginning a journey into the overarching recovery, beginning with detox. So what observation is it's less than 24 hours. It's as it's defined by the State Department of Health Services, which is the licensing board. It's an ancillary service in addition to the inpatient facilities license. And what it does is it permits us to be able to have a stabilization unit where we can hold on to folks for up to 23 hours in a day. After 23 hours a day, they become admitted. It's a place where individuals who are intoxicated who so they haven't really committed a crime other than intoxication, so they can't go to jail, or it's not a good use of resources to take them to jail, where they can be taken to for safety and security of not only themselves but the community.
Okay, thank you for that. So this is, what you're telling us is that this is for detox center, and my question to you, I want to make sure that this facility will never be used to destroy human life.
Negative.
Okay.
Absolutely not. To the contrary, it is to improve human life.
Okay, thank you for that.
All right, Councilwoman Pacheco has a question or two.
Are there other facilities that are along the same lines in our area?
So Community
Yes.
Bridges
So that's
actually does
what we-
detox.
so-
CTI.
Is this
up on
like
CBI.
Yeah.
CBI.
Is this gonna be like community bridges?
So Cody, is this gonna be similar to?
So
Go ahead.
it's going to be very similar to community bridges, where community bridges. So can I quickly give just a quick background on me?
Sure.
So I can kind of share some of my credibility.
Yes, that'd be fine.
Okay, so I'm I wouldn't say a serial entrepreneur, but I've been in business quite a while. I was founder and owner of Recovery Works. It was based in Charlottesville, which was an outpatient treatment center with supportive housing. So we had a 6-month program in Charlottesville. I had that up until 2023. It is now owned by Beacon Recovery, who's still in the area and has grown that quite a bit. So very familiar with the area and very familiar with Navajo County and the substance use crisis in Navajo County. Community bridges, where we will differ from community bridges is we will be what is referred to as medically managed or medically supervised, meaning that they'll be under the direction of a physician. There will be medication available that's not just for the comfort medications, but for the agnostics. So the agnostic drug is going to be the anti-use, right? It's taking the cravings away from opiates or alcohol. Community bridges in the area, they are unable to do what is referred to as a medically managed detox. So they'll be about a step down from us. They do a lot of the observation, and they are a safe place to land and so forth. But for individuals that are extremely that are dealing with extreme addictions with opiates and alcohol does require a medical supervised withdrawal, because the withdrawal symptoms of alcohol can be very deadly. So this is a safer environment. It's a more comfortable environment for the individual, and what that results in is that the taste in the mouth of what recovery is going to be like. If you don't have a good experience going through the withdrawal symptoms, all you're wanting to do is go back to it, because the relapsing potential of the substance use is to get high again, so you don't feel the pain of the down. So we want to eliminate that and move on. So to answer your question, similar but at a higher medical degree.
Great, thank you,
Because
Cody.
you can't get into some rehabs or outpatient facilities until you are sober, So this would help them get sober so that they can go into other facilities and other treatment centers.
Yes,
Correct?
that's been my experience. Did you
That
have?
is absolutely
Yeah.
correct.
Great. So I have a couple of quick questions too. So it is medical, so will you have a medical staff 24 hours, 7 days a week?
So the state, yes, the state has very strict guidelines on what we can and can't do. So I have other practices here in the state. I have one that I'm just opening up now here in Maricopa County where I reside. And with that, I have a team, and that team is board certified addictionologists, family medicine with a specialty in addiction medicine, nursing staff, and so forth. But we will have dedicated staff members that are there. There will be a nurse on site 24 hours a day, 7 days in a week. There'll be behavioral health technicians that are highly trained that will also be there. I like to think of them more as with a servant's heart, right? We're really our clientele are going to be basically individuals that have the flu per se, as far as their elements are concerned. So it's an act of service is really where we're coming from there. And then the medical staff. So we've got low-level providers that are up there, as well as or mid-level and higher-level doctors up there that we're working with. We haven't really narrowed down exactly who's going to be where and what.
And so to clarify that, Cody, so you'll build it with if you get the approval tonight, you'll get the building, and once you get that approval, then you can go secure your organization that will actually run the detox center. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Well, no, we'll run the detox center.
Okay,
we will run the detox center. I'm talking about the doctors themselves, narrowing down specifically who's going to be our doctor. But they will be in the area. They will be readily available, and they will be there 5-6 days a week.
And to clarify, Cody, I don't know you, but just so you know, I have had some personal scenarios with detox centers and things like that, and actually we've had a lot of good people say good things about recovery work. So to your credit, we appreciate that. Councilwoman Tafoya has a question for you.
So your patients, will they be referred there, or can they just walk in and request services?
So, yes, they can walk in and they can be referred.
Okay, and they can come from all surrounding areas, like Show Low, Snowflake, Winslow, the reservation, Holbrook, and they can go into that facility and stay. So when they're...
they can come.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So after they've received services and they are going to be released, however long period that they're in there, are you just going to release them back into Holbrook, or are those people going to be transported back to their home where they came from, whether it be Winslow, Snowflake, the reservation, or wherever they came into the facility?
Great question, and I'll put you at ease. It is unethical for us to release somebody without the next level of care aligned. What that means is once they complete their detox, or as they're going through their detox, there's a discharge process that goes in, and the individuals that we serve will have arrangements of where they're going next, and that's going to be to a residential facility somewhere around, right, based off of placement, their needs and so forth. So nobody is going to be released just back out into the open while, but here's your pass, see you later type of thing. It will be very controlled. People will be delivered and taken away there, or from there.
Great. And what we do appreciate about detox centers, I just had a conversation this morning, we'll talk about it more in my summary, of having this issue with have a lot of people dropped off in Holbrook from various organizations, and so we appreciate you addressing that. The important thing is too, because if somebody is drunk or high, they cannot, sometimes they'll drop them off in Holbrook thinking they'll just go to the homeless shelter, but the homeless shelter will not accept them if they're high or intoxicated, so it is a good service
Or help
to
with
have.
placement to get them somewhere else.
And to get that placement is great. All right, any other questions before we open the floor for a motion? All right,
One other question.
Okay, we have
That
a
is,
speak up a little bit there.
what percentage would be court ordered coming out of the jail system
it wouldn't necessarily be court ordered. You know, I have a very good reputation with the judges and the sheriff and so forth in there. My stance on that is voluntary is best. And that's our job as a professional, is to create and establish that voluntary commitment. Nobody sticks with anything they're made to do. Everybody sticks with what they choose to do. So it's our job to get people to choose that. Now, being that this is a level of care, court ordered is extensive and a very broad term. Typically, leaving the jail, leaving the court, it's going to be more or less on a condition of bail, that they would need to receive those services. That's not, in legal terms, defined as court ordered, but it's enough of a statement by the judge that you better go do that. And based off of the numbers that I've most recently heard, and these were not finalized numbers, but this came from Sheriff Klaus in that previous meeting with the Planning and Zoning Commission, that they see between around 35 to 40 individuals that would go to the sheriff's or would be processed through jail, that would be released prior to a withdrawal while they were still intoxicated for misdemeanor charges. And having a resource like this in the community gives them a safe place to go. One of the questions that did come up that I think was a very relevant question was, can we sustain all of that, that amount of people? And the answer to that is simply, this is a starting point. We'll have 16 beds. Having the observation unit definitely allows us to put people in a waiting room, if you will, and get them into a bed and move or until a bed opens. But the demand will fill up really quick. This will be a service that I forecast we could probably build 60 beds and still be full, but we just couldn't find a big enough piece of land.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Cody.
Size.
So Cody, we have one more question from Councilwoman Pack.
So like if somebody is passed out on, out in the sidewalk or something, instead of the ambulance taking them to the ER, they would be able to take them to this detox center.
Did you hear that?
Yes, that is definitely what the observation unit is. So there's going to be a couple of things that we'd want to clarify. And first and foremost, right, the individual stability is most important, right? So going to an emergency room to be cleared for symptoms outside of substance use would be imperative. However, the hospital is not a detox, and a detox is not a hospital. So my core value and my commitment to the city of Holbrook is this: we're going to be your good neighbor, okay? We're going to work together on all of these things to have an amicable solution for everything. To provide solutions for that person that's on the sidewalk, to provide solutions to the EMS services, to the ER services, and we do that by working together and putting all the problems on the table and coming up with the solutions to fix that. And you have my commitment now as one of the partners and founding member of this, that we are going to be at the table with you guys. And this isn't something that we're wanting to just come in and do. We're wanting to do this with a partnership with the city of Holbrook, and we want this to be a very valuable thing to the local community.
All right, we appreciate that, Cody. So, okay, one more, sorry, then we'll open it up.
Just clarification on your last comment from Councilman Pack also, is her question was, if somebody's passed out on the sidewalk, can they bring them up there? And from what I'm getting from you, is this is a voluntary thing. In other words, if they're passed out, they cannot come, they have to volunteer to go through your detox program. The police cannot make them come in there and go through it.
But you have to wake them up to get them
But still, it's a volunteer program. They have to agree to go through it, correct?
Well, they're not going to get arrested for it.
Not in the observation unit, into the detox side of things. they would need to be admitted for detox. That would need to be voluntary, right? The only person that would have authority is a court and a jury to get somebody into a court mandated situation. That's as difficult as getting somebody's kids taken away. Now, the observation unit is different, and that gives us the ability to be able to take quote unquote possession of the individual on the basis that they are unable to make safe decisions on their own. And so it's an observation and stabilization unit. And so that will give us 23 hours for them to sober up and for us to have conversations with them and to figure out where they're going. And again, if somebody after 23 hours decides that they don't want to admit, that doesn't mean that we turn them loose on the streets. You know, it will be our requirement that somebody comes and gets them, right? That they have a destination to go to. But to answer your question directly, if somebody is passed out on the sidewalk, the most important thing for me is to evaluate why they're passed out. And if it is just substance use related, then absolutely. That's what the stabilization unit is for. They wake up and medically, you know, are processed as they're just drunk, then that's what we're for. Now, if they've been, you know, hit in the side of the head or something that cannot be established medically, then they would need to go to the emergency room.
So does that answer your guys' question?
Before they had come to us.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you very much. So, we're gonna go ahead and open the floor for a motion. We'll give us still another chance to have a discussion and question, but.
I make a motion that we approve the conditional use permit as recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission for Western States Developing LLC.
I will second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Did you get the second?
Arsenio?
I think Arsenio beat the next little bit, so. All right, with that, do we have any further question or discussion?
I think I have a discussion on, I mean, it seems like every year somebody's trying to bring in a detox center to Holbrook. And what happens is Show Low, Winslow, and all our surrounding communities will bring them over here, put them in here. And then when they get turned out, I like the idea that says, oh, we'll make sure they get transported back. It just doesn't work that way, just like our jail system. They come from all over, they get put in our jail, they turn them loose out at the jail, they end up in Holbrook, and we have a vagrant problem like we've had all this last year. And it's not good for Holbrook. We already have CBI, they're not full. Why do we need another one?
This is medically managed.
Yeah, so it is a
They're
little different
managed.
They're
side.
trying to help them put them somewhere.
It's just a vagrant problem. It
All
will
right,
be.
so we've got a motion and a second.
Can I comment on that?
Yes, go ahead.
Sure.
Go ahead.
So the first thing that I want to address there is it is unethical by the medical board for us to turn people loose. So you can't just turn people loose. They have to go to the next level of care. So they're unstable still when they leave. They are just withdrawn from their substance use. So we can't just turn them loose on the street. It's unethical. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't leave on their own free will. Nothing, you know, they still have their constitutional rights. But it is our responsibility as professionals to eliminate that, to work with that, and to manage the crisis that's there. The folks that we're after are the folks that are already there. So we've chose Holbrook for a reason. You know, I've spent a lot of time in the area. It's a big part of the community needs assessment. And this is solution oriented, and I understand the concerns there. They're legitimate concerns. Nobody wants the problem worse, we want to make it better. And that's my goal. And we're not going to do it unless it's done right. And my reputation's on the line. And that's very important to me because this is my business. And it affects all of my businesses that are in this industry. So it's a legitimate concern, and you know, if it's something that you would like to have more of a detailed conversation about, I'm all ears and I'm available all the time to have a conversation around it.
All right, thank you, Cody. Any further discussion? No. All right, We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
One nay. Motion passes. Thank you, Cody, for answering all the tough questions here for us. So,
Absolutely, thank you.
all right, you have a good night.
Thank you, you too.
Thanks. Okay. All right, moving on to, just lost it again. Keep moving it. Item G. We got another hour, don't we? Our proposed fiscal year 2025-26 consolidated fee schedule. So, let me read the background. As part of the city's ongoing effort to balance operational expenses with revenue, it is essential to adjust certain fees to cover rising costs while continuing to provide quality services. After a comprehensive review of the city's fee structure for services such as transfer station usage, water and sanitation, and fitness center membership, staff is recommending an increase in select fees by approximately 5% for the 2025-26 fiscal year. This adjustment aligns with regional averages and remains affordable to our residents, ensuring continued access to essential services. Financial implications. The proposed fee adjustments are projected to generate additional revenue that will support increased operational expenses, including staff salaries, maintenance, and utility costs. This additional revenue will enhance service sustainability and prevent the needs for substantial rate hikes in the future. So before we start, I'm just, because I talked to Sharon just right before the meeting and said, hey, are we trying to do this all or nothing? Because trust, it's not going to be an all or nothing tonight. So my take on tonight, and you guys can outvote me here. I feel like let's go through it, see, get everybody's opinions on it and things like that. Most likely, I would like to, I know everybody's gonna have an opinion one way or the other. I have a hard time feeling like we're gonna pass this tonight in one sitting. I could be wrong. Lisa said, just get me out of here by midnight. Just kidding. So, just kidding, so.
I kind of agree with Cisco Lerma, what he said, in that we need to address this item by item. I mean, you know, at first, it talks about a 5% fee, then we look at the golf course, and it looks 50%, 75%, 67%, 144%, 122%, 178%. I would like to see those gentlemen at the golf course make a case for, he said that he thought that some fees should be higher and that some fees were too high on the schedule. I'd kind of like to see.
And that's just the golf course.
That's just the golf course.
That's just the golf course, right?
Just a select few of this men's association. That's not people who go to the golf course daily or frequently that are not part of this association. And these are people from Winslow, here, the surrounding areas that use it just as often.
I would suggest there's a lot here and there's a lot in the back of it. I'd suggest we table the rest of this agenda for another meeting.
Yeah, almost like a work session first,
Yeah,
to go
right.
through it.
Yeah, maybe a
To
group
go
session.
through
I
it
mean,
one by one.
I mean, on your fitness center, you know, one thing is doubled and the other thing is more than doubled in price. I just don't understand where we came up with our percentages for each additional increase.
And it's my understanding, just by reading the material, that staff kind of took averages from the surrounding neighborhoods, is that correct?
So, everybody divvied up. Steve took care of the golf course, and staff here were assigned different sections, and we did comparisons, rate studies for these golf courses that are in the area. Steve did his research on those and made the recommendations based on the information that he researched. The same with all the other,
Cheapest
the
on
other
every item.
departments.
We're still the cheapest on every
Right, we're
item.
still the cheapest, but I don't think we compare our golf course to Snowflake.
I
Right.
thought I made a
I mean,
motion.
Right. And I
there's
took
no
that into
comparison
consideration.
to the two
Right,
golf
yes,
courses.
taking that
So,
into consideration.
increasing
We want a
ours to
discussion
only
first, and we'll do a
$100
motion.
less than Snowflake's golf course, that's quite.
So
a bit.
again, Steve had
I'll
said,
open
you
up
know,
for
he
a
took
motion.
all of that into consideration because all these golf courses are not apples to apples, which we like to compare.
But I would say on that though, we are very comparable to their 9-hole course, and that's the numbers I took this from. I think our course is better than their 9-hole course. And we're still the absolute, these numbers are ridiculously cheap. We have can I even say what our budget is? I mean,
Well,
we
it's
have
public
we have
information,
other
so-
courses seed budget. We have a tiny little budget. So, this is just to help us.
And then the intent of administration is to cover our overhead, not to make a profit. But if
Right.
we're losing $123,000 a year on a golf course, you might wanna consider selling your golf course and let somebody else run it, because we can't sustain that year over year over year.
So Sharon, walk us through the process of the fee adjustments, like from tonight's potential vote to the next steps.
So we have a schedule that we have to go by. Council needs to review it, and we have to present the proposed schedule with all the reports that were researched, and then I wrote it up based on the information that I got from each of the departments. And then the letter of intent to increase has to be posted. So if you approved considering the increases, we have to post that letter of intent tomorrow. Then it has to be posted for 60 days, and then then it would go back in January, February. And then there's another 30 days that there's another waiting period. And then another 30 days before it can be implemented once approved by council. So based on if you had approved the intent to increase rates tonight, it wouldn't take effect till, it would have been mid-February, but I didn't want to do mid-cycle with utility rates and things like that. So I put it till March 1st, which gave an extra 10 days or something. So we do have a timeline that we have to wait, give the public information, be able to make comments, and then 30 days after you approve those said rates that you want approved, then it would take effect.
Thank you.
So you would go out to
all
the
right.
community.
Sorry, we have lots of questions here or something. So go ahead and ask your question, Terry, Councilwoman Tafoya.
So if we approve these numbers tonight, then those would go out, be posted for intent.
Intent.
And the public then has the
Right to
opportunity to
comment.
come back and complain.
Correct. Or make alternate suggestions, maybe.
Suggest different things, and the council could do the same
And
thing.
the council can do the same as well.
So the intent was saying we're gonna increase, we're not set to
And
these
this
numbers.
is what we intend to, but it's still open to discussion.
Okay,
It's
go
not
ahead.
done until you put your approval on
Final.
fee increases.
My thoughts are, is if we don't start increasing our fees, the city's gonna be providing these amenities and these out of our pocket that we don't have clearly. So, I mean, yeah, it's $5, yes, $50, but we also have people who come to the golf course knowing, oh, it's only $10 to go do that. I'm just gonna do it twice, 3 times and not have the honor system, and they're taking advantage of it. And I've had plenty of people call and say, hey, you guys definitely need to raise your fees. Like, I'm glad you guys are finally doing it because people are taking advantage of your golf course and you're having to maintain it, which puts a different perspective. I'm like, okay, you know what? You're right. We do need to increase our fees at the swimming pool, because if not, we're paying for it. Like, we are paying for them to come and use it, and we're not getting that back anywhere. So,
And again, the
it's putting
intent is
us
to
down.
cover our fees and to be able to sustain maintenance on facilities, the chemicals and things like that. We want to have recreational opportunities for our community, so they stay in our community. We've got families here that have children that don't have things to do. We want things for them to do. We want families to be happy and want to stay in Holbrook.
We need employees to
One of
manage
them,
it.
for instance, the monthly greens fee. Okay, if you go for one day, it's $10. You can pay your monthly greens fee at $70, and that's 7 days of golfing, and there's
It's
30
$50.
days. Your monthly greens fee is right now it's at 40, and suggesting it to 70. But you can go one day at $10.
15.
Yeah, but you can go right now one day at $10, or you can go 4 times for a monthly greens fee, and you've already covered that.
I agree with that. and I don't see any problem increasing fees. I think we need to talk to the people that go out to the golf course. Yes, we want to break even, but do we wanna have golfers out there that are gonna go and golf, or we're gonna increase our prices so much they're saying, I'm not gonna go golf out there? We have a lot of older gentlemen, and I've talked to some golfers that golf out there. They're on a fixed income. If we increase these fees, some of them probably are not gonna be able to golf out there. And this just is in my input. I talk to other people that go out there and golf. And so I'm not against increasing fees, I'm really not. But I think some of these are extreme.
Guys, we've looked at this and there's a lot here. There's too much here to do. So I motion that we table this the rest of the agenda.
I'll open the floor for a
Thank
table.
you.
You're welcome. And then we'll have a discussion.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got a motion, a second to table it. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I just have a comment about the electricity use at Gillespie Park. It's showing $5 or I think it's saying current fee in A, but right now it's $20. We want to increase it to $20, but it's already at $20. Just
Did you say it was at $5?
because we did the fee schedule 2 or 3 years ago.
So
No, it's the recommended fee is $20,
Yeah, there's a lot there.
and for nonprofits it's $5.
Oh, that's
So the fee right now is $5.
No,
correct,
current
Randy?
fee is $20.
That's for commercial use if you're using it. If it's a nonprofit that's going down there, it's $5.
But he's
Well-
saying
Right,
currently
but
it's
right
20
now it
regardless.
says there's nothing.
Yeah, it's
On
$20
our
regardless.
list, it's listed as $5.
$5.
Yeah.
Because I've been paying $20, I want a refund.
Well, you're commercial.
Well, it
Well,
doesn't
I was gonna say,
designate
you were on
commercial.
the council when they said it.
Right,
And
I'm the one
think
that-
you,
I'm
if
the
I
one-
remember correctly, I'd have to go back and look. You asked them to set it at 20, but they actually set it at 5, and you've been paying the 20.
Well.
And I just thought that you wanted to do that because you actually approved it.
Okay,
But I
No,
have to go
because I
back and look.
remember at that council meeting, they originally wanted it set at 5, and I was the one that said, no, $20.
But I
is
think
reasonable."
they approved the 5.
So let's go back and look
Because
at that.
our-
It shouldn't have been
I'd have to go
approved.
look.
All the rates are based on this fee schedule that we have.
So I'm paid up for
Posted, and it's
all of next
$5.
year too.
All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
So when it comes to the lights at the ball field, it says lights, they're $10 a day, tournaments are $33 a day for whichever. So right now, is that how much like when they have the summer league going, that they're paying $10 a day to use those to put on like men's league, co-ed games, anybody that's using the ballparks?
Do you want me to address that?
I'm sorry?
Do you want me to address that?
Sure.
The men's league and stuff are actually a city league, so they don't have to pay the fees because it's a city league that the city sponsors.
But when
Okay,
people
so-
put on tournaments,
When they put on tournaments, that's where that goes into play.
yeah.
And if it's a nonprofit organization, we normally don't charge the field fees, but we do charge the light fees because it is an actual expense.
And we didn't touch any of those fees.
I see, so the city is eating the fees for summer league baseball games at night, whatever that, however much that APS bill pretty much is. Okay.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to table it. So we'll address that at this point. Does anybody have any questions or discussion on that?
And just making sure that we have a work session to address this in the future.
Right.
Yes. And right away,
So-
December.
Did anyone table second?
So we got a motion and a second, so, all right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is it a motion to table and set for a work session, or is
No,
it just a motion?
just a motion for now,
Okay.
so, motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye, nay.
One nay, okay.
I say move forward and do, and then come back.
All right, so the motion passes to table it. We would like to ask though to have at the next city council meeting, so December 12th, 13th,
I'll miss that one.
so
Too busy that day.
December 11th to have a work session in regards to this. So, and we'll try to get some information out to the public as well, and have them to contact their council member for their thoughts on it.
Madam Mayor, so are we having a work session before the next council meeting? And this will not be on that
How
agenda?
about, let's do this,
that
let's have a
evening?
regular city council meeting, have a work session, then have a special meeting after that to address a vote.
So the work session after the meeting?
Yeah, well, so we'll have a regular city council meeting, then we'll go into our work session, cause we'll need some time, so I don't wanna try to say let's do it beforehand, cause it's not gonna get through in an hour. We'll do the work session, hopefully the city council agenda will be nice and short, do the work session, then have a special meeting called to, if we need it, to take a vote that night to move forward with the intent.
Could we not have a work session before the next meeting?
We potentially could, so, but,
What is that for?
the problem is, you've got next Wednesday, I may or may not be here, and then the 27th is the night before Thanksgiving, so you can try December 4th,
No, I say stay with the original plan.
so.
So
we
what's
can
the
still-
work session in December?
December 11th, so it'll be
What-
right after the,
What is that for?
it'll be to discuss the fees,
And then we'll have our
and then we'll have a
regular
work
meeting.
session after that.
Oh, I thought you said there was already one scheduled.
No,
Oh, okay.
we're scheduling it now,
Okay.
so.
You think there's more there than we can do in just a regular city council session? If the agenda's not busy, we
So
can do it
if it's
in a
not
regular-
busy, and I would like to see it broken up potentially on the agenda as per section.
That would be much
Instead of one thing, I think it'll be
Yeah.
a little easier to eat through, so that'd be the plan moving forward. Does that work? So we got a consensus? All right, with that,
At least at church, I can leave during the second bell, right?
all right, moving on to item 11, summary of current events. All right, as I briefly alluded to with the conversation with Cody, this morning I did invite some community stakeholders to a meeting for a discussion regarding homelessness and collaboration with organizations and their resources, make sure we're sharing resources. It was a first meeting to address the challenges Holbrook faces with limited resources. So basically it was saying some of the concerns that Councilman Black brought up, saying, hey, we're bringing these services in and then we're creating problems. And so we had DPS there, Holbrook PD there, we had Sheriff's Department, Community Bridges, Change Point. A couple of people weren't able to make it, but it was just a first meeting to say, hey, there's an issue with different organizations bringing a challenge to Holbrook that we need help. You were helping us create this challenge, we need your help in providing solutions. So it's just a first meeting where hopefully they've created some, already some connections right in the meeting. They decided they helped somebody get a gas card coming out of the defender's office to be able to get them home versus just having come back to Holbrook without any money. So even the meeting already said, hey, we do this resource, we can help you out. So that's a good start. We got a long ways to go. All right, also we've got December 2nd, we have a community tree lighting at 6 p.m. at Gillespie Park. There'll be some vendors, rock and road runners, Native American dancers, and of course Santa Claus. And here in Holbrook, he doesn't come in on a sleigh, he comes in on a Harley, which is fun. December 12th through the 14th is Festival of Trees. We are taking registrations now. December 14th is Parade of Lights. I'm sure the Chamber is taking registration as well. Holbrook Chamber is also promoting Shop Home for the holidays starting December 1st, so we too encourage everyone to shop local when they can. Also, Holbrook High School Student Council is doing Thanksgiving boxes. They're helping out with the your program with the Thanksgiving boxes. So they are looking at donations for sugar, flour, and oil through November 22nd. At this time, you can drop off your donations at the high school. If other locations become available, we will let everybody know.
You said sugar, oil, and
Sugar and oil and flour. They need 140 each
Yeah,
for the
but
boxes. So
Pretty small, like 4 or 5 for sugar and flour and the smaller thing of oil.
oh, I got a big one already, couple.
That's
All right,
okay.
sorry.
Somebody will do
All
that.
right, and with that, as a reminder, we talked briefly too, please, if you receive an email from me, I am not, again, looking for gift cards or looking to talk to you. So, with that, we'll turn the time over to Vice Mayor Nelson.
Thank you for everybody who supported our Bunko fundraiser. We raised $1,226 towards our Christmas food boxes. We are currently taking applications at the food bank, but we're almost out. And so we're gonna cut that at 140. That's how many people that we've gone up, which is almost 30. We've gone up 30 this year. And so we encourage, we wanna help the people that we help all the time instead of somebody going, hey, there's a free ham down there. So thank you for that. And our Christmas box distribution will be the 21st of December. if you wanna come and help us,
Absolutely.
7 to 9 a.m. We put together the boxes, and from 9 until noon, we distribute those boxes. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Black.
I don't have anything.
Councilwoman Pack.
No.
Councilman Dixon.
So Mike called me earlier to see what I was wearing tonight, and I tried to talk him into wearing a tie, but he refused to wear a tie. No kidding. There's been talk by city manager about, and I think we talked with, can't remember his name at the county, or Real AZ, about the EV charging stations.
Chris Pack.
And, yeah, if that's something that we, as a city, want to look at, I think it's a really bad idea. The EVs are starting to take a turn for not being very marketable, and I think we should let the market dictate the charging stations, as we should let the market, free enterprise, dictate who buys the EVs, rather than the government forcing those down our throats. Another thing is, we've had a lot of new hires. I like to see new faces. However, I'm just concerned where the money's coming from. If we've had that many people quit and we're just replacing those, that's one thing. But all these new positions, I'm really concerned about, and how the city's going to afford that. I'm hoping it's not coming out of the $600,000 that it should be going to PSPRS to pay down those unfunded liabilities. So I'm not one to defund the police with their retirement. That's something that they depend on, and we could get in a jam with not paying that debt off. Ditat Dies means God enriches. That is our state motto for the state of Arizona. Unfortunately, Proposition 139 passed. Why should God enrich the state of Arizona when we, as a society, begin to bow down to Molech and sacrifice our children? Why would God enrich us? Why would He bless Arizona? And I know a lot of community members that voted against that, but unfortunately it passed, and it has enshrined in our Constitution the right to murder our children, to dismember them, to decapitate them in the womb. This is outrageous, and I really think that I'm a praying man, and I think we should really pray against this, and hopefully maybe in the future have a constitutional amendment that negates 139. This is my last meeting. I've been on council since 2015, 9.5 years, almost 10 years, and I will not be here for the December meeting. I was hoping to have Tammy sworn in tonight, but our city attorney kind of overruled on that. So if there's a special meeting or anything, you guys are going to have only 6 of you come to any kind of special meeting before she's sworn in. I want to thank the citizens of Holbrook. I want to thank city staff who's been here longer than I have as far as on council. I worked for the city of Holbrook for over 21 years, retired from the Holbrook Police Department, where I had a lot of fun, a lot of rough times, a lot of very bad situations, lost some friends in the job. But I want to thank the community of Holbrook, the citizens of Holbrook. This is my second elected term, and I represent everyone, even those who didn't vote for me during those 2 terms. And I want to thank you for putting your trust in me, and I'm not leaving, but I want you to understand that I care about Holbrook, I care about the citizens here, and hope to see you all around. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Chapoya.
I didn't realize this was your last meeting. Thank you for your service, helping us, the city through the 9.5 years. I attended the Operation Greenlight that they had down at the courthouse for the veterans. It was very nice. There wasn't very many people there, but it was very nice. The county did a really good job and presented and gave everybody a green light and stuff like that. So it was very, very nice that what they did. We don't have another meeting until December, correct?
Correct.
So I'd just like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. If you go out of town and visit family, that you have safe travels. And that goes for everybody in our community. I wish you all very happy Thanksgiving. That's it.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Pacheco.
Just that it was mentioned that Mr. Bob from the golf course does an amazing job and want to recognize him for that. I personally don't know him, but just wanted to pass that along. And other than that, that's all I remember.
Thank you. And Councilman Dixon, I didn't realize this was gonna be your last night, and I too wanna thank you for your 9.5 year service. People don't appreciate what it's like to be an elected official, so you're there.
That's right, that's right.
So we do appreciate your dedication and all your service through the years.
Okay.
We appreciate it, so.
You're welcome.
All right, Manager Jacobowski Waltz.
So I'll make mine brief. I'll just give you highlights of new topics on there. As far as recreation, we were talking about tonight, I did meet with Michael Silva from Altitude Recreation, and we discussed the playground equipment behind the city hall here and the splash pad. I did meet with City Manager Layton, and we had discussions about Hunt Park lease and Gillespie Park, so we're in further discussions about that and some other things of how we can work together and kind of work out those land issues. I did apply for a matching grant of $4,000 from the AZ Route 66 cost share grant, so we'll see if that goes forward. I did mention already that unfortunately we didn't get the pump ramp grant, but I'll keep trying for other opportunities that are available. I would like to address the issue of employees. So we really have only one new employee, and that was with wastewater treatment plant. Lance is the only one there, and really you should never only have one person at a wastewater treatment plant. So Lance has been working quite some time alone. We did add another individual there. The other ones, which are the admins in front, are not new positions. They just hadn't been filled, and Lisa is now actually doing her city clerk work instead of working the front desk. Our streets department, we have all of the 5 employees, 4 of them are new. There was only 1 that remained when the others decided they didn't want to work for the city anymore, so those were backfilling those positions. And we are not touching PRS. We value our police department and their retirement, so we're not doing anything there. I do want to bring to your attention that we have had quite a bit of vandalism in the past 2 weeks in our parks. We had our Parks Department paint the small sheds or whatever facilities you want to call them in the parks, and right after they were painted, like the next day, they were tagged. So we're back painting them again. We installed 2 new wooden doors at the racquetball court to close that up, so we didn't have non-authorized use of the building. Those have been kicked in, so we're back down to not having doors on there. We did, I think I mentioned this already, we've added additional gym parking on the other side of the gym. They removed the plants that were there. We're waiting for the gas company to come and actually put a metal railing around that. They're piping. In the meantime, we have the rocks around there, but we have additional parking there since we blocked off the fence on the back wall, or the back fence here.
Do we have to walk around? So if you park in the back, you just have to walk?
You have to come out
Okay.
to the front. I'm glad you said that, because we've had individuals using the emergency door, leaving it open and just having people come in. So we will be addressing that by putting an alarm on the door. I mean, and that activity really only hurts the people that pay gym fees by just letting anybody walk in, so,
Is there sufficient lighting back there though?
I'm sorry.
Is there sufficient lighting back there for?
We will be putting the turn on flick lights when somebody's out there. Nobody's been parking there yet. We just recently put the sign on the door saying that there's additional parking, but it's a work in progress. And lastly, I would like to, and I will continue to recognize our departments because they are doing an absolutely amazing job. I really feel that we have a great team. There are some departments, like the streets department with the new members that are just kind of getting into the routine of things and realizing what kind of culture we have. And that culture is changing to more of a teamwork environment. With that, I'd like to recognize Tim Kelly for his exceptional dedication and commitment to the city of Holbrook. As our facilities and airport manager, he consistently goes above and beyond his responsibilities, always searching for ways to enhance our facilities and community services, even during his personal time. He's made some trips to Winslow to find out how they operate, and that's on his own time, and he comes back and reports to see how we can incorporate some things to make Holbrook better. He never hesitates to lend a helping hand across departments and is currently sharing his extensive expertise in street maintenance with our new streets department crew, conducting trainings on pothole repair, sidewalk replacement, and more. His unwavering support and knowledge make him an invaluable asset to our city, and we truly are fortunate to have him on our team. I just want to thank him for all he does. Our sanitation department, I'd like to extend our heartfelt appreciation to Sam Hollins and Joe Stewart for their outstanding efforts in keeping Holbrook clean and welcoming. Their hard work and dedication are evident every day as they go above and beyond to ensure the community remains a place where all are proud to call home. Recently, Sam has also assisted the administration with large record retention projects, demonstrating his willingness to support Holbrook in any way needed. With Sam and Joe, both Sam and Joe happily carry out their often underappreciated work with a welcoming smile and positive attitude. And last but not least, our water department, I'd like to take the opportunity to recognize them for their unwavering dedication to providing high-quality drinking water to our community, their commitment to protecting the integrity of our water distribution system, metering and delivery of water, and providing excellent customer service, which is truly commendable. Over the last month, they have tackled several significant projects, including new meter installations, water tank inspections in compliance with ADEQ, and lead and copper. And we also had a large water break here on Friday that they took care of. Even when faced with emergency services or repair, the team executes their duties effortlessly and efficiently. As winter approaches, let us remember their hard work and commitment as they brave the cold to ensure that we have reliable access to water. We specifically acknowledge Water Supervisor Daniel Gabaldon, Al Foster, Fernando Agramont, Jeremiah Sawyer, and Trinidad Salazar for their exceptional efforts and contributions, and I thank them all for what they do for the community.
All right, thank you. And also in our packets was the department head monthly reports as well, so we can go through that as well. All right, so if you don't mind, we'll start with you. You read each one of them? Just kidding, sorry. I would have read them beforehand. I would have proofread them.
Let's go to the weeds.
Anyways, I'm sorry. Okay, number 12, submission of written petition for items not on the agenda.
There are none.
All right, item 13, do I have a motion?
I move that we
About an hour ago.
adjourn this meeting.
I'll second that. Motion is all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Nay.
I'm not even asking for a name. All right, thank you guys. So, oh yeah, wait a second. Randy will turn
Did you have Alexis at your?
I can't.
You okay?
My legs won't move. I've been sitting this way.
I have enough. Thanks for.
Oh, yeah, it was cold.